Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your chat screen, you will see a box, and in there you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, it's been a busy week. A lot going on this week. I got lots of pictures from viewers, new equipment, new just lawn updates. I did some work on the front lawn, had some challenges with the front lawn. I mean, it's been a busy week. So it should be a fun show tonight. We'll get right into it. It's Memorial Day weekend, so for anyone that has served in the armed services, again, thank you for everything you guys do. And if you guys had a chance to speak to someone that's a veteran or someone that's actively serving, feel free to definitely be sure to tell them thank you, because freedom is not free, right? All right, guys, so we can jump right into it because we have a lot to cover tonight. I've got again some great video that you guys will get a kick out of, and we just jump right into it. As always, we're coming to you on YouTube I don't say our primary platform, but it's the one that we started the show on. But you can also watch the show on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much all the common social medias that you guys tend to frequent. You can watch the show there and consume it in any way that is best for you. All right, so let's jump right into it. We got Gene DeWolf. He starts out. I mean, it's really cool that he reached out and to say thanks, I guess, so the story with Gene is we've been corresponding now for well over a year now, and he has some challenges with his lawn. I can actually show you an example here of what his lawn used to look like. Let me see. I think, yeah, so old lawn. So you can see the tree there. He had some bare spots. He had a lot of weeds throughout the lawn. And then and then early last year, he was fighting Poa annua. So he was talking to me and saying, what can we do to help to make this better? And I said, man, for POA, spectacle is the way. I gave him some other advice as far as just how to get the lawn looking better, regular mowing, weed control, that type of thing. So really nice. He came in really early before the show just to say thanks. So you are starting things off, Gene. He says, number one, I dedicate the following pictures to you for your expert help with my lawn. 21,300 square feet of Bermuda grass, mowed at 1 3/4 inches with my Walker rotary bagger riding mower. So not even real mowed, right? Mowed at just under 2 inches. And the lawn looks spectacular. I'm gonna show you guys a bit more in a second. He says, number two, my lawn was a salad bar in 2023, causing me to start following you on YouTube. Per your advice, the pictures display your expertise on using pre-emergent fertilizer, soil pH, just dollar stimulants, I guess biostimulants, and mowing. And he says, so 10,000 thanks for all you do. So with all of that, I mean, with that kind of an intro, I want to show you guys what Gene's lawn looks like today. So again, thank you so much for sending this out. Right here. So this was taken 5 days ago. So whatever, yeah, we're May 18th, 2025. I mean, to go from this, to that, and we're still pretty early in the seasons. We were there, and now we're here. Pretty spectacular. Really, really looking good, sir. And then another picture you sent also shows it, 21,300 square feet. Bless your heart, because that is a lot to mow. I don't blame you for having a rider. And it shows you guys, look at that. I mean, even at just under 2 inches, it's mowed at an inch and 3/4. That looks fabulous. Like most people would love to have a lawn that looks like that, right? I think it looks great. It goes from that to that. And it's a lot of it's just your hard work and consistency, Gene. So again, great job. Really appreciate the kind words. Thanks for taking the time out to let me know that it was useful. Big thing is you actually did it, right? So I mean, a lot of folks ask for advice, but then when you tell them, most of it they do some of it, they don't do any of it. You actually did it. So really, you're the one that should be applauded for transforming your lawn. Great work. All right, next up, we got Aaron in the live stream. He says, hey, Ron, when I tried to dethatch my lawn, it looked really rough. It looked like it was pulling out my Bermuda runners. Is that normal? What's a good budget dethatcher? I think mine is too strong. So a couple of things, Aaron. So when it comes to that particular cultivation practice, right, dethatching, I am not a huge fan of doing that on Bermuda lawns. Or really any lawns where you have creeping grass. I just not really a fan of it. I think that Bermuda zoysia definitely benefit from verticutting as far as a method for thinning the lawn out. But as far as like dethatching, it tends to be too aggressive. So I'm not sure exactly what piece of equipment you're working with, but the difference between a verticutter and a dethatcher. So I always use Owlet's website because they have a good reference here. If we go look, hopefully this will work. If we go look right here, this is their dethatching cartridge, which if you take a look at that, you can see it's like metal hooks that are spaced fairly far apart. So so if you run this on a Bermuda lawn, especially if you set it up a bit too aggressively, it's gonna be tearing at the grass quite a bit, right? Now compare that to a verticutter. You see the blades are much more tightly spaced, so it's gonna do a much better job vertically cutting or vertically mowing the lawn. So this is really what I recommend for thinning out Bermuda grass, zoysia grass versus dethatching. Dethatching, in my opinion, for most for Bermuda zoysia lawns, it's just too aggressive. Now, as far as a good budget one, a lot of folks tend to use like the Sunjo or other variants of it. And as long as you set that up properly, like I've seen the results of people that have produced from using that piece of equipment, and it's been pretty good. So as long as you set up the verticutter to where it is just above the surface, what you don't want is it getting down into the soil and really being a bit too aggressive. You want it where it's just above the surface. If anything, multiple passes with the height set a bit higher is better than trying to go for just one pass and being really aggressive. Because the goal is when you're done is to gently thin the lawn out without causing unnecessary damage and stress. Like if you look at pictures of or video of my lawn that after I'm done verticutting it, you can hardly tell that anything's been done unless I get in close. Then you can see the grooves from the verticutter. So the goal is to gently thin the lawn out, preserve a good cut using your mower, prevent like the thatch issues that can happen if you allow Bermuda grass to get too thick. Also the cutting issues that can happen if you allow Bermuda grass to get too thick. So that's what I would tell you. Look into the Sunjo. I mean, I don't have one personally. I've never actually even used one myself personally, but I've seen the results from it. And if they're set up properly, they can work pretty well. And as far as a budget tool, that's about as inexpensive as you're going to find. So hope that helps, sir. Really appreciate the question. And I mean, I like the fact that you're doing other practices other than just mowing. That's good. because Bermuda does benefit from being, thinned out a little bit as the season progresses. But you want to be careful about how you go about it so you don't cause unnecessary stress to your gorgeous Bermuda grass. All right, next up, we have True Gator Fan. He says, happy Friday, Ron and Turf Gang. Ron, I started spoon feeding this season. Like it. Common Bermuda, rotary 40-volt mower, and I mow every 3 days on the second notch on the mower. You don't know in inches. He says, I'm thinking about using PGR. Thoughts? Thanks. Yeah. I mean, you're asking me if you should use plant growth regulator? Yes. I'm a huge fan of PGR. I always tell folks there's life before growth regulator and life after it. I mean, what you can expect is obviously a reduction in clippings. So as far as your need to have to get out there and mow the lawn as frequently, if you wanted to reduce that, you could. What I tend to tell people to do is instead of like mowing less, which you can do when you use PGR, even if you keep the same or similar mowing frequency, you're gonna just produce a lot less clippings. So a byproduct of using plant growth regulator is the lawn tends to get a darker color, mainly because you're not cutting off so much leaf every time you mow it. This is especially true for real mowed turf. So you're using a rotary mower, you're still going to see the benefits. Even with a rotary mowed lawn, it's still going to benefit from using plant growth regulator. Now, one thing you said here in part one of your question was you mentioned common Bermuda. If your lawn is a hybrid Bermuda lawn, and you've got some common in it, there's not an easy way, not that I'm aware of anyway, to selectively remove the common Bermuda from the hybrid Bermuda. So what I found, something that I worked out last year after talking to the folks at New Farm, is if you take a combination of Primo, which everyone's pretty familiar with this, it comes in various brands, but if you take Primo or Trexpac Ethyl, and then with it, you stack Annua EZ, which is perhexadione calcium. So this is another growth regulator with a different active ingredient. Use both these together. It doesn't get rid of the common Bermuda, but it does a really good job of masking it, because then the growth rate between the hybrid and common becomes a lot more even, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because if you have common in your lawn, the rate for Primo on a common lawn is like 3/4 of an ounce, so 0.75 ounces per thousand, which is almost 3 times what you would use for hybrid. So you can't really, if you use the common rate on a hybrid lawn, you're going to likely cause some injuries, some discoloration. So a way around that is to use Primo and also use Annua EZ along with it. Just something to consider if you decided that you want to take that to go that route. And as far as the question you're probably asking yourself is, how on earth would I do that? How would I do that and get a good result and not mess up my lawn in the process? Well, we have a blog post on the topic of plant growth regulator, like why it's awesome, how it can help your lawn get darker, greener, why it's something that you never knew you always needed in your life. And you can feel free to check this out. I think you'll get some value out of it. I mean, if anything, it just gives you some options, some things to consider. So if we go here on the Golf Course Lawn Store, this is a free resource. I'll link it for you in the chat as well. But it talks about what PGRs are, why you'd want to use them, the advantages of them, some videos that I've shot over the years over it. Talks about Primo, talks about Annua EZ, what the benefits of them are, how much they cover, that type of thing. And then as we get down here, we get down to the fun part, right? Like how to avoid the negative results of plant growth regulator, how to use both of these products together, along with rates that I've used over this past season and even this year, and I've had really good results with. So you can take this, use this as a foundation for working out your growth regulator program. Not saying it's the only way to do it, but it's one that I personally use, that lots of other people all over the country use, and they get really good results with it. So for someone that's brand new, if you want like a starting point, feel free to take a look at this. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, do let me know. Appreciate you taking the time to come by and say hello in the live stream. Really does mean a lot. All right. True Gator Fang. Someone else is going to have that question, so we'll save it. Get turned into a short. Kind of cool, right? All right. Next up, we have Timothy Gonzalez. He says, hey, Ron, I got my new Rolex S17 today, and I love it. Before we go on, we must clap it up. We must acknowledge the new equipment. Very nice. I like it. He says, a lot to get used to as it's my first power drill mower, but so much fun. Send an email. Have a great Memorial weekend. I'll be mowing and grilling. Awesome. Awesome, Timothy. I did get your pictures right before the show started, so I was able to get them into the queue. We got a lot of pictures to go through tonight, but I did get yours in here. So this is his new equipment, the Rolex S17. Good looking piece of equipment, good looking mower. And then the results, I guess this is his first mow with it, and that looks good, man. That's a nice tight cut. Lawn looks great. And as you get used to using it more and more, it's even going to get better. So congrats again on the equipment, man. Really nice. I'm sure you're happy with it. Just keep using it. Keep it sharp. Keep it well adjusted, and then you really can't lose with getting a great result in your lawn. Can't go wrong with that. All right, so we have a Cash App. This one came from Mr. Michael Thompson. Let me first fix this. Get you up here as a show sponsor. So let's do that. Get that taken care of. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. And I'm not, and it's Thomason. Make sure I don't butcher your name here. At least I can do Thomason. All right, so there you go. Your name in lights, whatever that means to you. And let me just take a quick look here. Make sure you didn't ask any questions that you wanted answered. I don't see anything from you as yet, but if you do, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I will I'll get you up there. So again, thanks so much for the contribution, sir. It really means a lot. All right. Stephen Thompson's up next. I just sent you an email, Ron, about a weed I have a lot of. I put down prodiamine heavy, but I don't think it controls this weed. Dallas Fort Worth, Bermuda grass, thanks in advance. Yeah, so I sent you a response back, Stephen. I'm pretty sure Celsius will knock that out. I didn't get the pictures on like in my queue before the show started, so I can't really bring them up. Not easily anyway. But take a look at what I sent you. I sent you a blog post as well as what I would think is going to do a pretty good job knocking that out. So hopefully that helps, sir. I really do appreciate the email, and hopefully that content is useful for you. So guys, before we go on, we had again a lot going on this week. It's been a tough week. Been a tough week, a lot of work. I've been busy with YouTube, busy with the business, and also got the supersod level mix. So it was supposed to get delivered today. However, it was delivered on Wednesday. They brought it early. So being not wanting to be able to leave well enough alone, I decided, you know what, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to start top dressing the lawn early. So if you guys have been following, if you're subscribed to me on YouTube, or if you're also following Instagram, you're getting updates, like kind of a play-by-play as far as how the process went. And, I thought I was doing good, guys. I thought things were coming together pretty nicely. And then I had had someone come in and ride their bike, or run like tracks through my lawn. Like literally, I did the work early Thursday morning. I went to an appointment, and when I got back there, like a buddy of mine was coming by to bring me a shovel and some other tools to do the main top dressing. And he's like, dude, why do they got tracks all through your lawn? Like, what's going on? Why do you put like tracks all through your lawn? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like a bicycle. It's like bike tracks. I mean, and I don't have a bicycle, so it definitely wasn't me. So I did what any, lawn care nerd would do. You pull up your surveillance camera and try and figure out what happened. Before we go with that though, I'll show you guys that. But before we get into that, I'm gonna show you first of all what the state of the lawn, and here's what I had to end up doing. I didn't think this would be typically necessary to have to put up on a lawn, but here's how the lawn looks. This is like literally about an hour or so ago. This has been top dressed the entire front lawn. The the vanity strip looking pretty good. This has been watered in, so it's growing through quite nicely. Very happy with that, and overall looking quite good. And of course, I had to go put out a PSA because there's always folks out there, and I say, hey, please stay off the lawn. I started with please. It says, yes, that even means bicycles. And for people that are just walking by saying, what on earth is he talking about? I'll drop a small URL there so folks can see why I had to also include bicycles. Now, I don't expect you guys to go do that in the middle of the live stream, so I will show you why I said that bicycles are a challenge, and that, lawn care haters, they come in all forms, shapes, sizes. It's just a thing. The struggle is real. And I thought I was on top of things, but apparently not. So we have to go through this a couple of times. Let me get all the annotations off so you guys can actually see it a bit better. There we go. It's all cleared up. All right. So if you look at focus on the top of the window, top of the frame, you'll see, because it happens so quickly, it's going to be tough. You might miss it. So someone comes off of the vanity strip on the pavement onto my freshly top dress vanity strip. And of course they have air support just in case things go sideways, but things didn't. I mean, they understood their mission. What I expect happened is, like the grown-up haters, they can't do it. So what probably happened is they had this young operator that's been, he was probably sitting down with his iPad or watching TV. He had a sippy cup next to him, gets a text message or something and say, listen, he's out there top dressing, your services are required, we got to take him down. And I mean, apparently the way this guy went after the job, this is not his first rodeo. Let's break this down. Let's examine this frame by frame. You look, there's 3 different surfaces here. We got, tightly mowed Bermuda grass, we got concrete, we have dirt. He did not break stride. He went from grass to pavement to dirt. He actually speeds up going through the dirt. Now, if we pause right here, at this part of the frame, in front of our operator is a tree and also a signpost. Now, if it's me, I'm bailing out on the concrete because, it's too dicey. The trees there, I could hit that, I could hit the post, might wipe out. Just not worth the risk. But this guy has obviously been through it. This is not his first rodeo. He trusts his training and he executes on the mission. So again, if we watch this again, you can see we go from grass, literally from grass, right to pavement, from pavement, not even breaking stride, right to the fresh BMX track. And, again, air support's coming in just in case. He ducks behind cover, so he's good to go. He waits for air support. Now, air support wasn't even necessary really in this case. But yeah, it just shows you, man, no matter how hard you work on your lawn, no matter how hard you think you have it all together, there's some 5 or 6 year old on a BMX bike that's just waiting to take you down. So the struggle is real. Struggle is real. You got to make a joke out of it, have some fun with it. Hopefully, if any of you guys have kids, tell your kids to not ride their bikes on people's lawns, because I realize that, I'm one of these weirdos that just like enjoys working on my lawn. I take it really seriously. I probably have a slightly unhealthy obsession with my lawn. But at this point, it's probably never going to change. So I put up a nice sign saying, for the love of everything holy and green. I didn't say pretty please with a cherry on top, but I think I said as nicely as I could, where I just, I say, hey, look, man, instead of, there's plenty of lawns, there's plenty of turf all throughout the neighborhood. Instead of messing with Ron's lawn, like go find some other lawn. So please stay off the lawn. Stay off the lawn. And that yet even means you on bicycles. I realize you're probably not going to respect it. Here's what's going to probably happen. Given where technology is going now, they're probably going to do it again. They're going to have some kind of cloaking device. And this time I'm not even going to be able to catch them on video because they know the angles I can get them at now. So they're probably not done. But just want to share that with you guys that the struggle is real. There's always something. Always something. All right. Moving on, we'll go on to Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips is up next. He has a question. He says, hey, Ron and all, Memorial Day Green is killing it right now. Started PGR early this year, and it shows no seed heads, etc. Cutting 3 times a week and loving it. Have a good show. I'll send pics. Awesome, Andrew. I know you moved, and I guess you got the new lawn all in good shape. So glad to hear that that's working well for you. And this is a good point, guys. One of the reasons to start plant growth regulator a bit early in the season, so like April at the latest early May, is once temperatures begin to really get warmer, you're going to start seeing that Bermuda zoysia grass will start throwing seed heads. It's like a stress response to the grass. Nothing you can really do about it. And it doesn't really mean anything's wrong with your lawn, but they are somewhat unsightly. A way to help suppress that to where they're not quite as visually apparent is by using plant growth regulator. But it works better, like you can still do it now, but it works better if you have PGR in the plant before the conditions happen. So if you're in Southeast, if you're my neighbor in Northeast Georgia, I would tell you like towards the tail end of April, early May, get your PGR app out, and it's going to do a lot for keeping seed heads at bay. If you didn't do it, no big deal. For most lawns, assuming you got a good nutrient program, you're watering it enough, it's like a 3-week problem thereabouts. So just don't sweat it, mow your grass, and in a few weeks, it should pass. But thanks for bringing that up, Andrew. I really do appreciate it, and glad to hear that the lawn is doing well. All right. Next up is Ninos Yokana. He says, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, Ron, for making lawns look great one at a time. I work on my lawn. You guys work on your own lawn. I give you guys some tips and advice, but you guys actually do the work. So I appreciate the feedback, though. He says, I applied PGR, your first app. I like it. I'm thinking about baby grass emerging after overseeding. Should I be concerned about it? No. So if you did the growth regulator app before any of the new grass grew through, you're going to be just fine. If you're using Primo, you're not really, like, Primo works via foliar uptake. So something that folks actually do, believe it or not, Ninos, if you have a Bermuda lawn, for example, I know this isn't applied to you, but I'll give you an example of why growth regulator is not going to really negatively hurt your overseeding. So a lot of folks that tend to overseed their Bermuda lawns in the fall, will use PGR as a tool to slow down the growth of the Bermuda to allow the ryegrass, I guess you could say, some of a competitive advantage as far as germination. So they'll thin out the Bermuda grass a little bit, spray Primo on it to slow down the Bermuda grass, do the ryegrass overseed, and that's going to give the ryegrass a chance to really come through without a lot of competition from the Bermuda. So I say all that to say that if you did your PGR app and then you're overseeding after it, it's not going to negatively affect your seeding project. On the label for Primo, I mean, obviously check me on this. I'm sure someone will fact check me on it. On the label for Primo, there's some guidance that pretty much speaks to that says that the product is not really going to affect grass that hasn't germinated as yet. So check the label. I'm pretty sure that there's some verbiage in there on that. But all this to say, no, you shouldn't be concerned. You should not be concerned about it. Now, here's the thing. Once the new grass begins growing in, I might wait until you get through a couple of mows before really, spraying it with growth regulator. So if you have brand new grass, that I would, when I say brand new, like grass is days old, I probably would not spray growth regulator on that. But once you get to the point to where it's grown some, it's establishing, you're mowing it regularly, and you want to introduce PGR to the entire lawn to include the new grass that you just overseeded, really shouldn't be a problem with that. Just stick to the rates. Respect the rates, and you should be good to go. All right. All right. Next up, we got Mr. Antoine Clacken. He says, "Happy Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Looking forward to a great show. Don't forget to hit that like button." Yeah, man. I mean, definitely hit the like button, guys. We got 100 folks here in the live stream, only 31 likes. So if you guys are enjoying the show, not enjoying the show, please feel free to hit the like button. It costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the content. Sends good vibes to YouTube and the other platforms that you happen to be on, and guess more folks to come out this way. So please do that if you would not mind. All right, Jackie Bear's up next. Says, "Have an excellent live stream, brother." I appreciate it so much, Jackie. Thank you so much for all of the love and support. You're like a regular staple, always around. Actually, let me get this back up on the screen. These guys. All right, cool. All right, next up we have Jason Harrison. He says, "Check it in. Have an excellent Memorial weekend." Thanks so much, Jason. Yeah, it should be. Here's the thing. This Memorial Day weekend, I plan to do, as much as I say a whole lot of nothing as much as possible. I mean, and by nothing, I mean obviously mowing the grass. Mowing the grass, might go to the range, hang out with some buddies, and do some training. But outside of that, not a ton else. So probably like my normal weekends, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Nino's is up next. He says, "Ron, I suggest you start a Ron Henry lawn competition across America." We did that. Was it not last year? Not last year. I think it was the year before. We did like best lawn, best cool season lawn, best warm season lawn. It's just, the thing is it's actually quite a bit of work to do that, and then I'd have to get some people that are somewhat impartial to also judge, to declare the best winner. So it's something I've definitely thought about. I've tossed around. It's just with everything else I got going on, it'd be like one more thing to pile on at this point. So not saying it's not a bad idea. It's actually a great idea. It's just a matter of competing priorities and time, Ninos. Because the last thing I want to do is go do that and do a piss poor job of it. So I get it. I'd be duly noted, and it's something that I'll definitely take under consideration for the future at some point. The thing is, at this point, we're be late in the season to do it, right? Because it's kind of unfair to the cool season lawn folks, because we're about to enter summer and their lawns don't typically look as good. And I guess probably the better way of doing that, the more I think about it, would be to allow people to collect pictures of their lawn throughout the season, and we do the competition at the end of the season. So that way you give the cool season folks the optimal time to get their best pictures of their lawn, the warm season folks to get the best pictures of their lawn, and then we can, when it gets like slower in the year, to be able to pull it together. So you know what, guys? Why don't you guys do that? Just collect, get some good pictures of your lawn throughout the season, and if we decide to do a competition towards the end of the year, you'll already have that. My only, I guess, request would be that the pictures be from this season. So don't try and sandbag and lose like a picture from a couple years ago. Like, use a picture from this year, from this season. And if you do that, yeah, we'll see about maybe later on in the year about putting some kind of a competition together. Give away prizes and stuff, right? It's always fun. All right, Jermaine Battles up next. He says, "Happy Friday." What's going on, Jermaine? And then next up is Andrew Flores. He says, "Hey, Ron, what would you recommend for ants? I randomly have a pile of ants after last night's rain. I also emailed you some pictures from this week. It's week 9 of spoon feeding and growth reg." So for ants, it depends on the kind of ants you have. So for fire ants, I'm a huge fan. Do I have them all there? I'm a huge fan of Advion fire ant bait, like this product from Syngenta. Excellent product, does a really good job against fire ants. I think is it carpenter ants, or maybe fair ants. But there's two that it's labeled to control, fire ants and one other one. And then for all the other ants that are not those two, there's just regular Advion insecticide, or you could use like any of the ant control products you can get from any of the big box stores if you wanted to. But for Advion, there's Advion insecticide, and then there's also, which will control a broad variety of ants, and there's also Advion fire ant bait. So knowing which one you have is kind of important to know which product to go with. In my lawn, I tend to get fire ants along the perimeter, like where my lawn touches the neighbors. So I keep this stuff on hand. It's what I use on my lawn. Great product. If you got fire ants, it's what I would recommend. So if it is what you have and you're looking to get some, I'll send you a link to where you can pick it up if you so desire. All right. But again, figure out what you have and then go from there. So I hope that helps, Andrew. And yes, I did get your pictures, and thank you for getting them in before the show, because given the amount of people that watch the live stream, it's getting harder and harder to do this like off the cuff as the show is progressing. So I did get your pictures. And now, guys, remember, Andrew is someone that got his Bermuda lawn done the hard way. The way I actually don't recommend doing it. For like most people, when it comes to establishing a lawn, I say, listen, if you're going to get a new lawn, you want to establish a new Bermuda lawn, just do sod. It's easier. It's easier. You will literally go from no lawn to lawn practically overnight. And it's, it's just going to grow through easier for most folks. They don't have the patience or the desire to be consistent with the watering that's required to really get grass to do well when you try and grow it from grass seed, especially grasses like Bermuda. But Andrew took on the challenge. He's like, you know what? I'm going to play the game on hard mode, and he is winning. He's winning. So these are pictures of his lawn from today that he sent just before the show. You can see that is 9-week-old Bermuda grass. And I got to tell you, man, for 9 weeks, that is looking solid. So he's spoon feeding it, golf course lawn program, using some growth regulator in there for good measure. And I see, like me, Andrew, you have to put the signs up there to tell folks to keep off the grass. I guess the struggle is real. It's not just in Georgia where folks will get on the lawn and misbehave. But the edges are nice and crispy. I know I gave you some grief last time about your edges not being right, and this time I can clearly tell. I got to acknowledge it, right? You have to acknowledge improvement. You can tell those lines are really crispy. You put the work in. You can really see it there. Looks really looks nice and tight. I like the work, sir. And great job overall. I applaud you. Keep going. I mean, again, that is not easy. Those are really good results given Bermuda grass. It's only 9 weeks old, grown from seed. You would not think that. So great work, and keep it up, man. Looks awesome. All right, great stuff. All right, next up is Warrior One. He says, how's it going, Ron? The Certainty herbicides smoked the Poa triv and Poa annua. Awesome. Glad to hear that, man. I know you were dealing with that. We were talking back and forth, and I was saying, yeah, man, I mean, Certainty is very effective against Poa annua and Poa triv. The thing is, you just have to apply it at the right rates. The one regret I guess I have for that video that I did a few years back when I showed the Celsius Certainty combo is I shot that video during the summer because I really wanted, neither one of those herbicides, Celsius or Certainty, really have any label temperature restrictions. So I said, you know what, I want to see. I'm going to spray it in some of the hottest times of the year here in Georgia. I want to say it was like late July is when I shot that video. And the rates that I use for Certainty are appropriate for sedges because it doesn't really take much to knock sedges over for using Certainty. But for Poa annua, the rates are not high enough. So, when it comes to controlling Poa, the label has some special guidance where they recommend on the low end 1 1/4 ounce per acre, which equates to 1 large scoop, or 2 ounces per acre on the high end, which is 2 large scoops. I'm not sure exactly how the math on that works out, but at any rate, it's 2 large scoops for the high rate for Poa. And as long as you go with that rate, especially if you're trying to control Poa annua that has gone to seed head, so it's mature enough that it's actually flowering, which doesn't take very long with Poa, then you get a really good result. If you under apply it, you tend to just kind of make the Poa mad. It yellows a little bit and then it just comes right back. So as long as you use the correct rates, it's a very effective herbicide, but you just got to make sure that you do that. So all that to say, really happy to hear that you got great results, Warrior One. Little Certainty, some surfactant, and it will get the job done. So again, great job. All right, Colin is in the live stream now. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hopefully your Friday has been well." It's been well, man. I mean, this week, this week's been tough, man. I was out there. I thought I was ahead of the game, and little mercenary, little 5, 6 year old mercenary on a BMX bike came and took out my lawn, man. It just stormed through there. But yeah, this too shall pass, right? What can you say? He says, tuning in for some great turf talk. The Paspalum is getting real close. Should be looking good here by the middle of next month. Nice. Yeah, the thing is, what you're going to find, Colin, is that now that we're starting to get consistent heat, like if I look at the temperature forecast here for Northeast Georgia, yeah, so we got a little bit of cool stuff. It's going to be like high 70s here for a few days, but then we're right back in the 80s. But the big thing is the lows. The low temperatures are in the 60s, which is what you want. So as long as the lows don't get 40s, low 50s, that's when Bermuda grass starts to lose its color and begins to check out. But the fact that even our lows are in the 60s, meaning that we're definitely in go time. I know that you're on the West Coast in California, but hopefully you're getting similar temperatures so your Paspalum can look its absolute best, right? Because that's what we work for. We work for our lawns to look pretty awesome. All right, next up is Jeff Hiroji. He says, hey, Ron, greetings from Katy, Texas. My aunt lives right nearby there. I think I've already said that before, but anyway. Bermuda lawn. First time leveling the lawn. Can I level the lawn multiple times in a season if it's light, or should I only level once per season? Thanks for everything. So yeah, Jeff, you absolutely can level your lawn multiple times per season. This is part of why I recommend going light. The window for leveling Bermuda grass really is as long as it's actively growing. So if you figure that in Georgia, mid to late April, depending on temperatures, all the way into like the first week of August is what I tell people is a good time to level your lawn. That's a good window. Reason for that is, can you go a little bit later in the season than like the first week of August? Yeah, technically. But if we get, an unusually cool fall, then you may have the lawn not fully recovered before it begins to check out. You know what I mean? So if you can take that window from mid-April through the first week of August, really, you could do a lawn leveling the beginning, again, mid-April. You could do another one end of June. You could do another one end of July if you wanted to, because in June and July, the lawn is really going to be growing aggressively. So you can get easily 3 top dresses in a year in if you so desire. What I tend to tell most people is do your main leveling early in the season. So if if it's your first time top dressing the lawn, it's going to take more sand, take more material than, say, subsequent top dressings. So the first one, the air quotes heavier one, which again, for me, heavy, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch material, do that early in the season. And then if you find a few spots that need to be touched up, which there always are going to be, you've got time throughout the season to go do that. So if you look at where my front lawn is currently, I'm pretty happy with how this is coming out. But there's still going to be some areas that will take a little bit more sand throughout the season, where towards the end of May, the vanity strip, again, the vanity strip I'm pretty happy with. I don't think that's really going to need too much. But the main lawn, there's some areas further down, like near where the shrub is, that's probably going to take a little bit more sand as the season progresses. And I've got still plenty of time to be able to do that. So by getting your leveling work done starting now, you've got time to do those light touch-up top dressings as the season progresses, okay? So hope that helps, sir. By all means, knock it out, have fun with it, go light, and a good ratio I find is deal with 1 cubic yard of material per 1,000 square feet. So my front lawn, the vanity strip area is like 2,300-ish square feet. As far as what Super Sod brought, they brought 2 yards, so 2 of the big yellow bags that covered the entire vanity strip and the front lawn. And I had 5-gallon buckets left over. So I didn't even use the full 2 yards of material over all of it, but I've still got some material now. If you want to do some touch-up work, I can still do that. So that gives you an idea. Over 2,300 square feet, 1 cubic yard per 1,000 is, that's going to be plenty. So if you do go with that ratio, Jeff, should be good to go. All right. Have fun with it. If when you get into it halfway through, an hour or so in is when it tends to happen, you start questioning life's decisions, completely normal. Just press on until you're done. So that's the best advice I can give you. All right. Just keep going. All right. Rich70 says, wow, Gene, amazing lawn. Great job. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, dude, here's the thing. I'm the real mowing guy. I love real mowed turf grass. I think it looks awesome. But what I always tell you guys, I say, listen, if you soil test, get weeds under control, follow a sensible nutrient program, and then most importantly, for the love of everything green, regularly mow your grass, you really can't lose. I mean, Gene is using a ride-on mower. Again, he's got a walker. It's a pretty nice mower. And you can look at that. I mean, that most people would be completely happy with that. I mean, that's an exceptional looking stand of turf grass. I mean, really, really nicely done. Big thing, Gene, you already know, obviously, so I can look at the pictures and see, keep your equipment sharp. But to go from that to that in a season is pretty nice. And we're still early in the season, so it's going to get even better as things progress, right? So I agree with you, Rich. His lawn looks pretty awesome. Andrews is chiming in. He says, Jeff, you can level your lawn as long as the grass is actively growing, which I'm sure it still is. I'm in Texas too. I've done it twice in a season. Second time was way too hot, but it doesn't hurt at all. That's exactly right what Andrew's saying. So you could do up to 3 in a season. Again, most folks, after the first one, they really are done for the year. But what you will find, Jeff, is you do the first one like now, and then the second, the follow-up, the touch-up work you can do throughout the rest of the season. You're gonna be just fine. So I don't know that I would do like 2 full top dressings. Most lawns really don't tend to need that, but 1 full top dressing and some touch-up work sounds like a plan to me. I like it. All right. Next up is James H. Says, Ron, I leveled last weekend in Mississippi. I emailed you some details and photos if you would like to share. Thanks for the information and awesome products. James, I'm not sure if I have your, I do have your pictures, but I'm not sure if I can get them on the show because of where I'm rolling. So James, here's the thing. I'll see if I can get them on here later on as we get moving, but you may have to wait till last week to be able to show everyone. I'm putting them in a folder now, but it's tougher to, man, it looks good. It's good looking stand of turf grass, man. It looks nice. But you're saying that you leveled, what did you do? You leveled last weekend and you just want to share it. I can get one of these up. The other one is not formatted properly. So this is the picture that James is talking about. And overall, quite nice. You're telling me that's a week after top dressing? You must have gone light, because that's really nice recovery. Really nice work, man. Stripe action is on point. Those stripes are nice and straight, nice and crispy, and the lawn looks awesome. So keep it up, man. Whatever you're doing, it's definitely working. Keep going. All right. Next up is a question from Mara Germ. As it says, how much do you lower the front roller on your Allet to verticut and turf rake? I'm not sure if I understand the question. When it comes to the height of cut that I set probably better is the height of cultivation that I set the Allet up to whenever I'm verticutting or turf raking is about 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface. So it's like with the C27, it's got like 4 position D10s that you turn in unison to either raise or lower it. So you just need I don't know off the top of my head how much I turn it from cutting to verticutting or turf raking. Because this year I'm doing a lot of mowing with the Greensmaster, and right now I just have the Allet set up just for verticutting and turf raking, because both of those are using the same height. So that's why you guys haven't seen a lot of like mowing footage with the Allet. I'm mainly just using it for verticutting and turf raking this season. So I don't know off the top of my head as far as how many clicks I go from cutting to verticutting or turf raking off the top of my head. But the long short of it is 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface. Above the surface is what you're after. Okay, so hope that helps. Next up is True Gator Fan. He says, it's common. My house was built in 84. Okay, so you say you have common Bermuda. It's not like you have hybrid. You got common's what you got. Okay, in that case, cool. In that case, you don't necessarily have to use a new and Primo if you didn't want to. You could just go with the rate for common Bermuda with Primo Max, which is, I think it's like 3/4 of an ounce, 0.75, but check the label. All right, next up is Justin Judkins. He says, hey, Ron, I have a fairly big backyard and it's low on my laundry list of priorities. So you don't love your back lawn as much as the front lawn, I guess. Is only pre-emergent water and mowing to maintain. Is there any chance of any permanent damage from fungus or grubs or anything? Not too concerned with appearance for now. Just curious if there's any long-term negative effects. No, not really. I mean, if you're not, no. I mean, so in other words, if you don't apply fungicide, or if you don't apply insecticide, are you absolutely going to have a disease problem in your lawn? Are you absolutely going to have an insect problem in your lawn? No, not necessarily. The big thing why you hear me talk about fungicide so much is especially for highly maintained turf. So you're out there mowing it several times per week. You're just injuring the grass so much more frequently that the opportunity for like a damaging pathogen, damaging like disease to take root and cause potential damage to the grass is higher than someone that mows their lawn, once every 2 weeks. So particularly for highly maintained turf is when like a fungicide program really begins to make a whole lot of sense. But if you're not, like to your own words, if you're not out there really mowing it very frequently, if you don't want to put out fungicide, you likely don't have to. If you don't have a history of grubs or other lawn damaging insects in your lawn and you want to forego insecticide on the back lawn, you can absolutely do that if you want to as well too. I've dealt with all those issues. I've dealt with grub damage. I've also dealt with disease issues in my lawn. So hence why I'm a big fan of a preventative insecticide and fungicide program. So it depends, different strokes for different folks, depending on what you're trying to achieve. How much you care about the grass, to use your own words, will also drive like what kind of program you put together, right? So depending on what you're trying to do, the program should suit that. If you don't really care about your grass, water it, mow it, and it'll look okay, So the more you do, the more you push the grass, the lower you're mowing it, the more you're trying to get that really manicured look, the more you have to do to keep it looking good without the adverse effects, particularly from disease. All right. Next up is Mr. Claude Thompson. He says, "Hey Ron, Claude here from Connecticut with cool season lawn." All right, Claude from Connecticut with cool season lawn. "Things are looking great. My lawn is responding well to the carbon kit." Love to hear that. Humic Max, Primo Max, and a new EZ. I appreciate you. Love to hear it, man. Yeah, man. A good bio-stimulant program along with growth regulator is, the results speak for themselves. It's a really, really good combo. Again, there's lots of different ways of taking care of a lawn, of feeding a lawn. I like our program because I like the consistency that you get out of it. And given the goals that I have for my lawn, I think a lot of people that tend to watch my content have for their lawns, it makes a lot of sense. So love to hear that. Great to hear that you are getting good results, and just keep going. The biggest killer of a great lawn is lack of consistency. So as long as you're consistent with it, you're going to be just fine. You got the program, you got the products, you know what to do. As long as you execute on it, you're going to be just fine. All right. Next up is JVP says, "Sir, I have a Bermuda lawn installed 6 weeks ago, and I want to get a real mower without breaking the bank. Thank you. Your channel is very helpful and informative. Keep up the good work." Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll tell you, if you have the time, but here's the thing. Should everyone real mow their lawn? Not necessarily. If you don't have the time for it, then I think for most people, it's just not going to work. Or if you have a really large lawn, it's probably not the best fit for you. Like you have Gene, who's got 21,300 square feet. That's a lot to real mow. You get to that size lawn, you're at what? That's just over almost half an acre. You're looking at like triplex at that point, right? You don't want like a push mowing like a half an acre will quickly become not fun. Even if you're retired, even if you got plenty of time, it's still just a lot of work. So what I tell you is, JVP, before you take the dive into real mowing, ask yourself if you really have the time to do it, because real mowing can produce spectacular results. As far as, bringing the most out of a zoysia lawn or Bermuda lawn, in my opinion, real mowing is one of the best components of doing that. Having said that, you have to be able to mow the grass at least twice a week when the season's going, at least that much. You know what I mean? And when you get into like next month, June, July, when it's really hot, you might be on an everyday program, every other day mowing program for a month or so out of the year. So you have to ask yourself whether you really have the time or desire, or you really enjoy doing that kind of work in your lawn. If you check all those boxes, then yeah, by all means, jump in, get yourself a real mower and go after it. As far as getting one without breaking the bank, there's so many options these days, man. What I tell most people is get a manual push reel mower first, not because it's going to produce the cut that you are ultimately after, but because it's a good way of seeing if the consistency that real mowing demands is really for you. And if you pass that, you say, yeah, definitely I'm on board, I'm going to be doing it, or you already know that, then I'd say when it comes to choosing a real mower, it really falls into two major categories of powered real mowers. You have the mowers that are they're quality pieces of equipment, but they are more designed for consumer use. And then you have the more commercial type mowers. So anything like you take like the new mower from Real Rollers, like the Revolution, or like the Rolex, or the True Cut, or California Trimmer, like any of those brands, McLean. While all great mowers, those are likely more, not likely, they are more in the category of a premium homeowner piece of equipment. Now there are people that run True Cuts on like in lawn care services, but for the most part, they're used a lot on residential lawns. The next category is when you get into the greens mowers. So you got like the mowers, the offerings from the most common ones are John Deere or Toro. I have, as far as over the years, I've never owned a John Deere, but I've owned a Greensmaster for a number of years. I've owned a True Cut. I have a Revolution, and I've got an Out. So I've got a bunch of different mowers. And the best cutting mower that I have, bar none, is my Greensmaster 1600. The 11 blade Greensmaster 1600 is a thing of beauty. What it does to turf grass, it just minces it. It's like art in motion. What it does to grass. Now, just below that, and it's not that much below, is that new Revolution. Now, I've not used the most current version of the Rolex or the new California Trimmer to know how well those work. I'm sure they look pretty good. I mean, we got a lawn here from Timothy Gonzalez. I mean, just looking at the picture, that looks like a pretty good cut to me. You know what I mean? So I'd say look in your area. What mower other people in your area are using, what mower you can get parts for easily. Getting it serviced is important. Like I know Real Rollers has the mail-in service now. They've got like a full grinding shop as part of the business now. So if you have like a Revolution and you want to send your cutting head in to get it serviced, they can do that for you. So that's kind of an advantage. So it doesn't really matter where in the country you are. So I would consider that. So more important than the particular brand of mower that you choose is, can you get parts for it? Can you service it as it needs to be? Those are the big things that I would take into consideration. Because really, if it's set up properly, if it's sharp and it's well adjusted, you're gonna get a result with it that you are gonna be very happy with. Like I talk about the difference between like the Revolution and the Greensmaster, but you're really splitting hairs. And unless you were on my lawn and I said, okay, look, we're gonna cut like 2 passes with the Revolution, and then we're gonna cut 2 passes with the Outlet, and we're gonna cut 2 passes with the Greensmaster. And if we do that, and you've got all 3 mowers there, and we got down and looked at the turf grass and looked at the consistency of the cut and just the appearance, how tight it is, you will notice a visual difference between the GM and the other mowers I just mentioned. But you've got to be looking for it. And if you're not like literally comparing them, like looking at all of them all within like 8-9 feet of each other, like they all look great. You're not going to really, it's going to look good either way. Your neighbors are still going to wonder what you're doing. So pick one, keep it sharp, use it regularly, and you're going to get a great result. So that's what I would tell you, JVP. Real mowing is awesome, but just make sure that you have the time for it. That's all I would tell you. All right. The lovely, I'm not sure what this is. Lovely Kelly says, hey, Ron, what's going on? Hope you're doing all right. And the next up is the Everyday Life says, do you think top dressing at 3/4 of an inch will be okay? When you say that, I mean, are you talking about 3/4 of an inch height of cut or 3/4 of an inch of material? If you're saying 3/4 of an inch height of cut, I would say yes, because if you're looking at the back or the front lawn, my back lawn is also at 3/4 of an inch, but if you look at the front lawn, like that right there, is Xeon Zoysia at 3/4 of an inch. That's what you're looking at. That's 0.75 inches, both on the vanity strip and on the front lawn. That is Zoysia at 3/4 of an inch. So yeah, as far as top dressing that, in my opinion, great height, because there's enough grass to be able to hold on to the sand so it doesn't really move around as much. But it's not so tall that it's a pain having to, like you're actually fighting the lawn to kind of work the material into the low spots. Now, if your question is, should I top dress with 3/4 of an inch of material on the lawn at one time? Not a fan. Not a fan of doing that, because the challenge you're gonna run into is if you put 3/4 of an inch, almost an inch of sand over an entire lawn, you're gonna have a big part of it that's going to be beach. It's gonna be really, you're not gonna be seeing grass at all. And you know, you're causing unnecessary stress to the lawn. If you have Bermuda, it'll probably be okay. It'll likely grow through it, but it's going to take longer than it otherwise could, or you know, you're kind of just making things take longer there. And if you have any kind of heavy rain, you're going to have a problem. So if you have a slope 3/4 of an inch of material all at once, I would highly try and discourage you from not doing that, because what will happen is, if you look here again, I'm just to bring this up again because it's a good example. Yeah, is that, this is a slope, and whenever we get rain, we're supposed to get a bunch of it here in the next few days. Is if you put 3/4 of an inch of material on that, you're going to have a bunch of it that's going to run down and end up at the bottom, and it's going to make a big mess. It's going to be tough to fix. Again, this is probably somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 an inch in some areas of material. And if you look, again, you can see a lot of grass. You can see some areas where that were low that took a bit more material. But this is, in my opinion, what you want whenever you top dress a lawn. So after you're done with it, after you're done watering it, this is how it should look if you're looking to maximize how quickly the lawn recovers from it. And you can always go back and do it again. You can always go back and do some spot top dressing here and there if you want to. But if you go really heavy, the recovery's gonna take longer. If it's on a slope, you're gonna make a big mess. So I just wouldn't do it. You can do what you want. Your job is your lawn. It's personal, and lawn care is a very personal thing. So you can do what you want with it. But you did ask me my opinion, and I am an expert on my opinion. And I would tell you that 1/2 an inch is as heavy as I would go when it comes to the amount of material that I would put down at once. All right. So hope that helps, sir. Hope it is good for you. And you know what? I'll actually show you an example of a lawn that was heavily top dressed. Let me see here. Let me first get this tag this comment, because I'm sure someone else is going to have it at some point, because it's a good talking point for this time of year, because everyone, the grandmother, is looking at top dressing their lawns, and we can talk about it. All right, so we have. It wasn't Andrew. It was it Mario? Yes, it was Mario. So Mario, if you guys are watching, Mario H has been sending in updates of his lawn, as far as his top dressing, the work that he's done week by week, right? Which is kind of cool because now we have it. So if I can find the first one, this was, I think, when the first week he did this. You see, my man is ready, armed, loaded for bear. Got a ton of sand. All that sand goes out in the lawn, and you can tell he was not messing around. So for me, that is a bit heavy. That's heavier than I would really go, right? So this is Bermuda grass lawn. That was 2.5 weeks ago. And here's the thing with Bermuda tends to recover faster. It grows so much more aggressively, much more faster. But 2.5 weeks ago, that's what his lawn looked like. If we go forward to last week, 10 days later, you can see it's grown through, but you still got still quite a bit of sand showing. In other words, if you look at his lawn at 10 days compared to my zoysia lawn at the day after, there's still a lot more sand that's visible, and he's dealing with a grass that is a lot more aggressive, grows a lot faster than zoysia does. If we go forward even more to today, and again, the lawn's looking really nice now. I got to hand it to him. We're now at 2.5 weeks later. Where are we? Because he sent me pictures of before and after. Okay, so this is before he actually mowed the lawn, right? So we're at 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks later. You can still see some sand here and there, but for the most part, the lawn has grown through, looking pretty good. The color looks great, right? And then he mowed it afterwards. So he sent me pictures of after he mowed, and you can see with him, he didn't tell me what height of cut he's at, but let's just say it's 3/4 of an inch. You can still see after mowing, there's still quite a bit of sand there. And looking at the front lawn, 2.5 weeks later, that is how his front lawn looks. If we go from that 2.5 weeks ago, which in my opinion is a bit heavy as far as top dressing goes, amount of material that I would put down, to that on a Bermuda lawn, you can still see near the driveway, near the patio, there's still quite a bit of material that the grass is not fully grown through as yet. So again, you can do what you want, but Mario has graciously provided us with pictures of a heavy top dressing, and has shown us week by week as it's grown through. And this is Bermuda grass, which grows again I hate to refer to it as a weed, but it grows so aggressively. This is as good as it's going to get, is what I'm trying to tell you. So again, do what you want. If it were me, I would back it down. 1 cubic yard of material, that's going to get you somewhere between 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, and that is the right amount, in my opinion, for top dressing. All right. Long answer to a short question, but I'm sure other folks are going to have it. So it's worth taking the time to explain the why behind why I feel the way about it. All right. So guys, if you guys are enjoying the show, we got 124 people in the live stream right now, only 64 likes. I'm gonna take a sip of my lemonade. If you guys would not mind hitting the like button ever so gently, I'd really appreciate it. It's a free way to support the channel, support the content. I'll even put some intermission music on for you guys while I take a sip of my lemonade and look for the next comment. All right. We have Ryan Babbage. Okay, so next up, we have Ryan Babbage. He's a question again about leveling. He says, hey, Ron, I just completed a leveling/reseeding project this afternoon. How soon should I apply Primo Max? I would wait until the lawn is grown through and you're regularly mowing. So once you put a mower on it, you're regularly mowing it, a week or two after that starts, you can start reintroducing plant growth regulator. Just look at it this way, Ryan. Trinexapac ethyl, like a Primo, is going to slow down how quickly the lawn grows tall. So if you have a lawn that has not yet grown through the material, there's not a lot of reason to slow that down, to slow down the recovery, in my opinion. So you want it to have grown through largely. I'm not saying it's got to be all 100% through, but you want it to be largely recovered. And then if you want to introduce Primo, that'd be fine. So if we look at like Andrew's lawn as an example, right? Not Andrew, Mario's lawn. Wrong person. All right, so we look at Mario's lawn after being mowed. So the front lawn, like back like this, if you want to start using Primo on that, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Like that would be okay. The front lawn though, if we look at this, I would not use plant growth regulator on that just yet. Like that still needs another week and change to really, really establish, really grow through before I would hit that with Primo for me. So the back lawn, yeah, if you wanted to, sure, no problem, no worries there. But this, if it looks like that, in my opinion, too soon. Too soon. You're kind of working against yourself. And also, given that the front lawn looks like it has a slight slope, you really want to encourage that grass to get through it so that it holds on the material. You don't have a bunch of washout when you have heavy rainfall. So just let the grass grow through before you slow down growth using PGR. All right, next up is WJ3 Smith. He says, bro, can you come to Texas? I am going to send drone shots and I want your help. Man, listen, people have trouble getting me to drive to the next town over, much less go to Texas. So probably not going to happen. But if you have a particular question, WJ, you want to send me a quick email, I will take a look and let you know what I think. So my email address is ron@golfcourselawn.com. Feel free to email there. Again, keep whatever questions you have pretty concise, like short. And if any pictures that you have, again, don't send me like 17 different pictures. Send me like just a couple to showing what the problem is, and I'll do my best to help you out. All right, I get a lot of email this time of year, so I gotta be. You have to just like keep it to the point. Keep it short. I can't read like a book this time of the season. All right, but I'll do my best to help you out and help you figure out whatever's going on with your lawn. All right, and Michael Thomason says, Ron, just want to say thanks for all your help and advice. I just sprayed my Bermuda lawn today with Fusilade and Eraser. Ooh, so we're going full send. Okay, I see you. So you're going to get rid of the Bermuda grass. You're going to go to Tahoma 31 in 5 weeks. So I'll be needing lots of help. Yeah, no worries, man, Michael. As you go along, if you want to drop me an email here and there, if you have any questions, feel free to do that. So just as a recap, for any of you guys that are new on the show, Michael Thomason is, he currently has Bermuda grass and he wants to replace his current lawn with Tahoma 31, which is another cultivar Bermudas. And what I told him is that if you're going from like, say, Bermuda to Zoysia, like what I did, yes, you want to do a good job killing it off, like Fusilade and some glyphosate product, Eraser's a good option, is going to do a great job. But if you are going from Bermuda to Zoysia, thanks to the mad scientists at Syngenta, we now have recognition in Fusilade. So we have a way now to selectively remove Bermuda grass that gets into your Zoysia lawn. So while you want to do a great job killing it off, you're just creating less work for yourself. If you have a bit of breakthrough here and there, it's not like the nightmare that it used to be, because now we can actually get rid of it without damaging the Zoysia. This is not true if you have Bermuda. So if you've got, like, say, a Tifway 419 lawn, you say, you know what, I want Tahoma 31. There's not currently, at least not that I'm aware of anyway, there's not currently a way to selectively remove one cultivar Bermuda from another. So if you've got, like, say, common Bermuda and it's in your hybrid lawn, or if you got like 419 and you got Tahoma 31, there's not an easy way to get rid of the 419 out of the Tahoma 31 without really damaging both of them. So in his case, what I recommended is to do a couple rounds of this. So do one round, the initial round of glyphosate and Fusilade to Give it 2 to 3 weeks, see how the lawn is looking at the 3-week point, reassess. And even if the lawn has been dying off, which that combination does a pretty good job, I would still spray again. I would do one more time because you want to get as much of that, your existing Bermuda gone, because once if you're coming in there with a skid steer or whatever, once you cut it all out or you get it out and you resod, you want to do all you can to minimize the chances of having breakthrough, or at least delaying having breakthrough as much as possible, because again, there's not really a way to selectively control Bermuda grass in Bermuda grass. So keep me posted, Michael. I'm excited for you, man. This sounds like a fun project. Just take your time. The prep work is really more important. I cannot stress that enough. Like the reason why like my Zoysia lawn project has gone as well as it has been up to this point, BMX bike and all, is due to all the work that went into preparing it. Like the team that came in, first of all, I killed the lawn off, but the team that came in and got everything out, cut it all out, graded it, like all of that coupled with everything I've been doing since then with regular mowing has really led to where it is now. So don't shortcut the prep work, because for something that you're doing, the amount of like time and money you're going to be putting into this, you really want to give yourself every possible advantage that you can to get a great result. And it's going to look really good. Just take your time and do it right, because again, you're going from one cultivar to another. There's not really a way to fix this if you mess it up. All right, or not really a way to get rid of the existing lawn if you get impatient, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Next up is Cedric G. Cedric G says, Big Ron. Actually, first, before I do that, I saw a Cash App came through. This one is from John Williams. He says, thanks so much for the lawn education. You're very, very welcome, and Mr. John. I appreciate that. I think you and Michael both did the same amounts. I think you guys are both, I got to have you up here as a show sponsor as well, too. So let me get you up here as well. Give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me. I'm doing my level best. I'm typing. I'm trying to answer questions. Doing all the things. John, make sure I got you here. Thank you so much, sir. And we will, I'll get you up here on the, I'll put some respect on your name. So why am I not seeing your thing? I'm just going to put John. Hopefully you'll forgive me for that. Yeah. All right. So Michael Thomason and John. So there you go, sir. Your name in lights, whatever it means to you. Appreciate all the love and support. All right. Cedric Thomas says, Big Ron, thanks for all the great content over the years. It's because of your expertise, trial and error, time and commitment. The Ron Henry train is rolling. Turfs up, vert down, stripe action forever. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And then Justin King says, give it hell, kid. So Justin, was it you? Did you make the call for the lawn mercenary? Are you the one that's ultimately behind all this? So for any of you guys that are now watching the show that are joining in, kind of a laugh at my expense, right, is Thursday, I began the lawn leveling of the front yard by doing just the vanity strip, right? So I go to an appointment, come back, a buddy of mine's at the house. There's clearly a track through my lawn that was not there before. So someone on a bicycle looked like rode through my freshly leveled vanity strip. So I went through, pulled the surveillance footage and found out exactly what it was. And the thing is, I don't know if I could even identify him. I mean, he was so fast. He or she was so fast. Who knows? It could have been a girl, and maybe she was disguised, so you can't even know who she is. Did a great job for what they were tasked to do. So I'll show you guys really quickly. If you guys are joining the show late and you're wondering what on earth is Ron on about, lawn mercenaries, hit being put out on his lawn, what is he talking about? What's he going on about? I'll show you guys really quickly here. So if you look at the top part of the frame, the part that's kind of blurred out, you see on the right, now before we even go on, let me just pause really quick here. You've got 3 surfaces here, which is not easy. You've got grass on the right, the vanity strip. You've got concrete, you got some some brick there, and then you see the brown in the background there. That is my vanity strip that was just top dressed yesterday. So in it comes our little lawn care commando, the man set out to do the job. He jumps off the vanity strip onto the pavement, starts picking up speed as he goes down the vanity strip and stays on it. I got to put some respect on his name, because he didn't even come off to try and dodge the tree and the sign that's there. He's got, mom behind him. He's got air support behind him just in case things go sideways. Things didn't. Like I said, this is obviously an experienced operator. He has not done this. He's done this before. This is not his first rodeo. It's not his first rodeo. If it were me, I would not have stayed on the vanity strip when it came to the tree and the light post. I would have probably bailed out on on the sidewalk, but not him, not my man. He trusted his training. He knew what the mission was. You know, he says, Justin probably gave him the call and said, hey man, get out there and do it. And he said, you know, I've trained for this. I got to trust my training. I'm not coming off. I'm not bailing out on the sidewalk, past the tree, past the sign, behind cover, and off to get the next lawn. So there you go. That's what I was dealing with yesterday. Again, hopefully you guys find it funny. And, you know, at the time I was really pretty irritated by it, but like, whatever, dude. This is just life telling me to not take myself and take things too seriously, right? That's what it is. That's what this is all about. And plus, it's a great story, right? Who doesn't like a good story? You guys get a good laugh at my expense. All right, Nick Wren is up next. He says, happy Friday. Sod went in today, but they finished before I got back from work. I couldn't put fert down before the sod. Is it too late now? No, not too late. I mean, I prefer to apply the fertilizer before the sod goes in, but if you want to put some down now afterwards, that's fine. Just make sure you water it in, obviously. But yeah, you can do it afterwards. No worries. Randy's up next, says the kid's going to do donuts next. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's like I put the sign out there, and, you know, the result of what he did, because I think the sign is still out front. You know, and if you guys I've only now recently joined the show, I was giving an update showing this is the lawn as it's done after the top dressing was finished. This was as of about an hour or so ago. And I just showed that, you know, this is how it's growing in. I'm very happy with it after it's been watered in. And, you know, this is the sign showing what, just a small request. Small request on my part. I don't think I was rude or anything. I just said, hey, listen, please. I was gonna say for the love of everything holy and green. I said, but please just stay off the lawn, please. And that means even bicycles. And for anyone wondering what's he on about bicycles, I gave a little URL link to the video so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You know why I was making this very gentle request to please stay off the lawn, to stay off the lawn. So yeah. Okay, next up is Andrew Phillips. He's not moved yet. It's a tough market. Okay, so you're still maintaining what you got. I got you. All right. Next up is Randy. He says, set up a sprinkler sentry to spray water when there's motion detected. Got to protect it. I could, man. But I mean, the thing is, people walk by there all the time with their dogs and just, I mean, it's kind of a jerk face thing on my part to like turn on an irrigation every time someone walks by. Just don't walk on my grass. Like, that's not a big thing. There's plenty of sidewalk there. I keep it nice and edge. The sidewalk's clean. There's nothing on it. Just stay on the sidewalk. That's all. That's all you got to do. I shouldn't have to run irrigation to try and keep people off my lawn. Especially, here's the thing. It'd be one thing. I'm not even saying that this would be really acceptable, because even riding a bike on someone's lawn is never acceptable unless it's your own lawn. But I could, you know, on a full moon, I could see an argument if the lawn were already grown through, it were green all throughout, and he just wanted to ride on some grass. But it was very obvious that some work had just been done to that area. So I have to think at some point this was intentional. I think, you know, maybe Justin or someone else, you know, someone else that's got it in for me. They called in support, man, and he was ready to earn his stripes. He did not back down from the challenge at all. All right. Brew Cruise Fishing says, you need some caution tape with chemical signs. I got the caution tape. I do have those. I got some stakes and the caution tape from Home Depot when I got it today. I didn't put it down because it's kind of irritating. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. Plus, I don't want to like leave the stakes like punched in the lawn the entire time. I shouldn't have to do that. Just be nice and just don't walk on the lawn while it's growing through. I don't think that's too much to ask, but it might be. We'll have to see. Michael Kuhn says, happy lawn night, y'all. What's going on, Michael? Thanks for coming by to say hello. And he has a question for me. He says, hey, Ron, if you could choose between winning a big karate tournament or winning a big city lawn of the month competition, which would you pick? I don't really, probably the martial arts one, probably more likely winning the karate tournament. Like, because, you know, honestly, me working on my lawn a lot of it's for me. Like I post the content and you guys enjoy it. And I kind of show it as like social proof that, hey, I mean, if you, I do have an idea of what I'm talking about as far as helping you get a good lawn. But outside of that, like having someone else recognize it and be like, hey, you know, I think your lawn is great, or having it being judged, I don't really care that much. Like, I do a lot of it is for me. Like believe it or not, Michael, a lot of what makes me enjoy working on my lawn is the same thing that makes me enjoy martial arts. For the same reason that if for any of you have martial arts training, you will do like forms over and over and over and over again. And if you're really looking at it from a standpoint of how, as something you're going to you're going to live and always look from a standpoint of constant improvement, you always find something new. You find a different way of breathing, a different way of moving, some way of just of living the form and doing and executing it better. So it's never quite perfect. And lawn care is the same way. Like I always thought, you guys have watched me on the live stream before. I've said that there's really only like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year when I'm truly happy with my lawn, where I say, you know what, this looks good. Outside of that, it's either moving up to that or it's kind of falling off from that. So it's the chase, the fact that you're always like trying that relentless pursuit of perfection. I guess was that what Lexus says, right? Like the Japanese, like what is this they're saying? I'm thinking of Kaizen. Like you're always trying to this the chase. Like the chase is the important thing, not actually winning. Like whenever I've competed in tournaments, when I've won, it is more relief, more so than really caring about the trophy. Like I've never taken any of my medals down or my trophies down and looked at them again and been like, oh, this is pretty awesome. I don't really care. It's like everything that led up to that is really the important part. Kind of like with your lawn, like all the things that go into it are the important aspect of it. Like now that the Zoy's just kind of there, it's going to be a lot more boring to work on now. All I got to do is mow it, right? But like everything kind of getting it set up properly, the renovation and putting out the biostimulants and just getting everything as prepped as well as I can and getting the high to cut work down to where it is. And then finally, ultimately top dressing it. Like all of that's the fun stuff. Like having it look at being like gorgeous. While it's nice, less fun than actually making it gorgeous, if that makes sense. So probably the martial arts tournament because it's harder to do. But they're both like one and the same kind of for me. All right. All right, Christian says, bro, been watching you since 2020. Nice, I appreciate that, Christian. Thank you for the regular feedback. I mean, yeah, some of you guys were saying the Cash App's not up anymore. It is there now, so you guys should be able to see it if some of you wanted to contribute to the channel. It's there for you to be able to do so. All right, next up we got Maizan. He says, hey, Ron, best product to lay on the ground for ants. Depends on the ants. For fire ants, I am a fan of Advion. This is what I use. I discovered it, or I heard about it. I was told about it in 2018, so 7 years ago at this point, and haven't looked back because it works awesome. If you don't have fire ants, then you can use most other insecticides will take care of them. Like there's Advion. There's an Advion product from Syngenta that is not the fire ant bait, that is labeled to control ants other than fire ants. I don't know if bifenthrin is labeled to control ants. You have to check the label and see. But I know like the other Advion from Syngenta that is not the fire ant bait will also do ants. So look into one of those and decide accordingly, depending on what you have going on in your lawn is what I would tell you. All right. Next up is Maxwell Perry. He says, I expanded my lot lines quite a bit after removing brush, trees, area back. There is a mess of weeds, ivy, rocks. What is the best course of action to get that seed ready? I put down Meso and Triad SC. Okay, so yeah, so you're doing the thing. So you are, I guess you had an area that was not doing well due to a lot of cover from trees or whatever. So if you got that taken care of, you're using Mesotrion and like a broadleaf herbicide to knock that out, you're on your way, man. I think just let that run its course, get the weeds cleaned up. Depending on the quality of the soil, maybe you might want to bring some rich compost or topsoil in there as part of your prep work to get the lawn ready for seeding, I guess is what you're gonna go. Yeah, getting the lawn ready for seeding. But outside of that, sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things to me. So if it were me, I would tell you, like when I did the front lawn, when it was killed off and all the old material was scraped away, I put out a heavy application of the granular biostimulant that I like to use, carbonized PNG. I did a complete fertilizer, our 14714, and I also put out a fungicide application, primarily because you're going to be watering with sod, and you're going to be doing the same thing with seed. You're going to be watering quite a bit, and just as far as just from a preventative nature, taking steps to do as much as I can to help prevent there being a disease problem in the new lawn. That is why I also add the fungicide app. So granular biostimulant or some rich compost, rich topsoil, like a rich material for the seeds to find their new home in, a good starter fertilizer of some sort, put out your grass seed, and then just water. The biggest thing reason why most seeding projects fail is inadequate water. So just make sure you don't allow the lawn, the soil, the area that you're seeding to dry out while you're waiting for the area to germinate. So just make sure you keep enough water on it and just give it time. Really can't lose. Sounds like you're already on your way and you're doing the right things. So keep doing what you're doing, man. All right, Warrior One is up next. He says, Ron, after the POA annua died, should I scare for my St. Augustine to remove all the dead POA and then top dress and fertilize? Am I on the right path? Or what do you suggest? I mean, I'm not sure how much POA we're talking about. Like if you had big chunks or sections of the lawn that were covered in POA annua, if you want to pull it all out, you can. The thing is with the POA gone now, St. Augustine can spread pretty aggressively. So if there's not weeds there anymore, you don't have any other grass that's really competing with, like it should spread into that area pretty, fairly aggressively. Depending on how big these areas are where you had the big clumps of POA, what you might consider doing is transferring plugs from the parts of the lawn that are doing well into the areas that were just that you just got rid of all the weeds. That will be a way to help speed it up. Because if you think about your lawn, like think the My Soil Test Kit as a bare area spot in your lawn, right? Let's say there's grass all around it. You could just, after all the POA is dead, just allow the grass to kind of creep in from all the outsides. Or, like I was saying, depending on how big it is, you could add some plugs in here. So now you have grass growing from inside out and outside in, which is going to help the area just get, it's going to get ground cover over it that much faster. So I don't know how big the area is that you're dealing with Warrior One, but if it's a bit larger, consider transferring plugs and you should be good to go. As far as fertilizing, yeah, I would just keep doing your whatever nutrient program you're currently on. So whenever it's time to fertilize the lawn, I would just continue doing that. I would not go out and do like a special fertilization just for this, I guess, if that's what you're asking me. No, I wouldn't do that. I would just stick with your normal program, keep up with your mowing, and the only thing outside of what you're already doing that I might consider is transferring plugs into the area where the POA used to be if it's an area that's, I don't know, bigger than 18 inches or so in diameter. Something bigger than that, then I would consider moving plugs in. All right. Okay, next up is the Everyday Life. He says, hey, Ron, what is the reason that Bermuda makes seed heads? Is there a way to avoid it? Great question. So seed heads are a stress response from the grass. As we move from cooler temperatures of late winter, early spring into the hotter temperatures now of summer, in many ways, the grass is saying, if grass could talk, oh, it's getting hot, I might die. Let me, send out seed heads, send out lots of babies so that the next generations of Bermuda grass can continue on. Joke's kind of on the Bermuda grass because like hybrid Bermuda is sterile. So the seed heads that it produces they're not really viable seeds, but it's just a stress response. And that's why if your lawn is getting enough water, if it has adequate amounts of nutrient, like so if you did a soil test, you've got adequate amounts of NPK along with the other nutrient, and your lawn is getting enough water, for most people, it's like a 2 to 3 week problem. So once we transition from when it's cooler into when it's hotter, but that period is whenever you're really gonna see a lot of seed heads, and then they go away, and then you're pretty much good for the rest of the year. So no, there's not really a way to avoid it entirely. You can use plant growth regulator as a way to reduce it, to mask it. Like I should have done a video of my lawn. What I'll do is I will tomorrow I'll do a short of the back lawn because there's seed heads all throughout my back lawn. You just don't really see them because because of the fact that I'm using growth regulator. Like my lawn has been under regulation since this year. I went really early just to test it out. I think late March is when I started because I was doing some testing. And the lawn's been great, and seed heads have not really been a thing, not really visibly anyway, in the back lawn compared to most other lawns. So hope that helps. The Everyday Life, seed heads are completely a normal thing. Not a whole lot you can do about them other than maybe consider a link in plant growth regulator. And even with that, you're just going to suppress it. It's not like you're going to go from a bunch of seed heads to no seed heads if you decide to introduce PGR, but it does make them a lot less apparent. So that's something I would consider, along with all the other benefits of PGR. So for next year, consider doing that. All right. So we have some pictures here that I'm not yet covered. Oh, we did Andrews. Who else have I missed here? Oh, Granger. Yes. So I'm not sure if he's in the live stream, but Granger is what does he do? It's him and his wife. They put on like events, like fashion events. And this season, earlier in the season, he messaged me saying, he said, "Hey man, this year I'm going to try out your lawn care program products. I've been doing a bunch of different things. I've done other things over the years. I want to give you a shot this season and see what kind of results I'm going to get with it." And he sent me a really nice email today saying, "Hey man, I did this. Really love it. Love the results. Love the products. Your stuff is the truth. Really do appreciate not just the products, but the program behind using them. And talk is easy, but results do not lie." So he sent me some pictures showing his vanity strip. And before we even go on, Granger, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how crispy that edge work is around the tree? Look at that. That looks good, man. I mean, that edge work is spectacular. Stripe action's on point, and the stripe action in his front lawn is also second to none. I mean, color looks great, man. Just great, great work. You really can't fault that. You're just showing off now. I mean, as you should. You put the work in. You got a good program. You're being consistent with it. Man, that's that looks good, dude. That looks really good. I'd hate to be your neighbor. Alex is enough. If I had you on the other side of me, I don't know what I would do. But he sent this picture just to show, again, the density, the quality of the turf, and the results from the spoon feeding program that I recommend for as a way to take care of your lawn. So that was video 1. And then this is video 2 showing the domination line between his neighbor and him. Very, very clear line of domination between his neighbor and him. Lawn looks awesome. Keep it up, man. It's going to be pretty awesome. Keep it up. It looks really good. Like the results. Thank you so much for the feedback. I'm glad to hear that the products and, more importantly, the process are producing great results for you. So Brian, one of my moderators is telling me that you can't find the super chat. Yeah, so super chats are currently not a thing. If you want to contribute to the channel, you have Cash App, you can go here. So cash.app, golf course lawn. That is how you can contribute to the channel if you want to do so. If you want to, just that's what that link right here is. Okay. So sorry that it's more difficult to find, it's less convenient, but that's how you would do it if you want to. All right. Okay. Next up is White Glove PC. He says, "Ron, issue with my Greenworks Pro 80 volt rotary mower. The motor on the wheel is running very loud, almost whiny, and sounds as if there's debris or something in the motor housing, but not sure. Any tips?" It's hard to say without seeing it, just what you're describing. It sounds like a bearing or something. It sounds like you maybe got some trash, some debris into one of the bearings, and because that will make a lot of noise if that happens. Without seeing the mower and knowing what's going on, that is where my mind is going. The unfortunate thing is, if that's happened, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do as far as like getting it out, cleaning it out. Your best bet is going to be to replace whatever bearing got fouled or has a debris in it. So what I would do before we get to that point is clean the mower really well. Make sure you don't have some kind of foreign object that maybe is dragging, that's causing the noise whenever the wheels are turning or whatever. I'm sure you've already done that, but outside of that, if the mower's clean, there's no foreign material in it or anything that could be causing the noise that you're hearing, then it's probably a bearing, in which case you could reach out to Greenworks and see what they would recommend. They might be able just to send you one that you can replace yourself. But based on what you're saying, that's what it sounds like to me. Again, haven't seen the mower, but that's based on what you're describing, this makes the most sense. Higgy Pop is up next. He says, "Happy Friday. Have a great show, Ron. I will do my best, sir. I will do my absolute best. Let's all hit the like button. It's free. Let's do that, guys. We got 122 people in the live stream, only 88 likes. This makes my heart hurt. Almost as much as the kid using my vanity strip as a BMX track. Almost as much as that. Not quite, but close." Next up is Austin T. He says, "Hey, Ron, Palisades zoysia here. My whole yard is greened up. Mostly thick, but some areas are very thin. I can see the stolons growing across the ground, so it's low. 1 of 2. I fertilized, done fungicide, and the bare areas are by the sprinkler heads." It's just gonna be time, to me, sounds like, Austin. Like, you didn't say that there's any challenges with sunlight, which would be the next thing I would look at. And it's just realized with zoysia, the good thing about zoysia is that it grows really slow. The bad thing about zoysia is that it grows really slow. So The one thing I found, and again, I'm not like a zoysia expert or anything at this point, but just from my almost 2 months, a little over 2 months now, with my Xeon zoysia in the front lawn, is that top growth, like growing up with zoysia, is actually faster than I thought it would be. What is slow is as it creeps. Like whereas Bermuda is like, and I hate to use the word like a weed, like it really is, will aggressively creep across the lawn. Like the stolons really are, really move as far as lateral movement goes. Zoysia or Xeon, not so much. It seems like to take its sweet time. I mean, I do see some runners kind of slowly coming in there, but growing like shoots that are going straight up, like that you see, that is faster than I thought. So I'll give you an example. The front lawn is not under regulation. I'm not using any plant growth regulator on the front lawn. And when I cut the front lawn, enough clippings come off the front lawn, just that 2,300-ish or so square feet, to about halfway fill up a grass catcher. So that's just from top growth. Comparatively, like mowing my back lawn, which is under regulation, that's 9,000-ish or so square feet. I can mow, this time of year, I can mow the entire back lawn and produce about the same amount of clippings, maybe a little bit less. So it just shows you that the not under regulation, like zoysia, like growing tall, actually is pretty quick. It's the lateral growth that, from what I'm seeing, isn't quite as fast as Bermuda grass. So, we'll see how it looks, as the season progresses, as we get more temperature, but that's my observation so far with Xeon. So patience is all I would tell you, Austin. Just stick with it and just wait. I mean, you don't really have a choice at this point. All you can do is kind of wait it out and just keep doing the things, keep mowing it, feeding it, watering it, and just give it time. With zoysia, patience is definitely the order of the day. So, Kevin, talking about zoysia renovations, not that. This is another picture of yours sent me. This is Kevin B. You showing me his Bermuda lawn of him watering it. Color looks great, especially compared to the neighbor behind him. And then a short video showing him running his irrigation system, putting some water on the lawn. Looking good, sir. I do like it. Looking quite solid. And then I had another viewer that is doing a renovation. So it seems like zoysia renovations are like in vogue this season. So his front lawn was Bermuda, much like mine. And today his zoysia renovation finished. In his case, he went with emerald zoysia, he told me. So I'll show you here really quick. So this is his zoysia renovation being finished up. It looks really good. It looks like they did a pretty good job laying the sod. That's a lot of zoysia, nice flat lawn, nice big vanity strip. Looks really cool, man. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be really fun. Hopefully it roots in enough. I mean, to where you might be able to put some sand on it at some point this season. But it's looking good, man. Overall, the prep work looks quite nice. From what I remember when you were sharing this with us last week, you can tell the prep work was really good because the way the sod went in is quite nice, Kevin. So thanks so much for sharing that with us. So you went from Bermuda, I think, to zoysia, and you went with emerald, is what you told me in the email. Looks good, man. Looks solid. Enjoy it. Allow it to root in, and then have fun with it at some point this year if you decide to. All right. Next up is Emmanuel Jacobs. He says, have you shown the video of the wonderful person who rode their bike on your zoysia strippers yet? I have, Emmanuel, but if you want to see it again, I can show you one more again. What happened to my lawn. This is our lawn intruder. He came through. Again, if I weren't so mad, I would actually be impressed, going from the vanity strip to concrete again to my newly top dressed lawn on his bike. He was moving, man. He was having fun with it. But yeah, that's I did show that already, so hopefully you saw it. All right, next up is Greg Lyon. He says, hey, Ron, a longtime watcher, but first question. Is 2 full days long enough to wait after spraying out some Kalinga? I wanted to give the herbicide time for the plant to take it in, but the grass is getting long and it needs a mow. Had to wait 2 days before spraying as well. Yes, so 2 days is good. 2 days is adequate, Greg. I mean, if you can give it longer, that's fine, but at least 2 days, if you can. 2 days before, and then 2 days after is what you want to do for best results. So if you sprayed, you gave it 2 days, and say on the third day you decided to mow, by then the weed you're targeting, in this case Kalinga, has plenty of time, has had adequate time to take up the herbicide. So So yeah, you should be good to go. And what you're going to find is this, right? Even though it isn't necessarily, it might not be like burnt to a crisp or completely dead as yet, but enough of the herbicide has been taken up that whenever you mow it, it's going to have a much more difficult time growing back. So you spray the herbicide, that's injuring the plant, and then when you mow it, you're further injuring it. It's going to make it much more difficult for it to reestablish this season. So yeah, 2 days is good to go. All right, Parallax GT says, hey, Ron and everyone, sent you an email with my new renovation with a question and see what help I can get from everyone. I don't know who is Parallax. I'm not sure I can find. Yeah, so I will probably have to answer this after the show, Parallax, because the pictures that you sent are pretty large and I'd have to reformat them before I put them on the live stream. So I've got it here. I've got your email up right here, and I will answer your question after the show as far as what you had. So you will get an answer from me, but I may not be able to do it in the live stream. And if you want, I'll queue these up for next week so that folks can see what we were talking about. Okay. All right, next up is Joe Cox. He says, good evening, Ron. I hope all is well. Just email you pictures of Milan. I have an area that is compacted. I tried aeration, no luck. Should I bring in a topsoil or use a tiller? I'll take a look at it again after the show, Joe. Aeration, when you say aeration was no luck, what do you mean? Because aeration is one of the best ways to relieve compaction. You just have to do it heavily enough. So if you just made one pass over the lawn, that's probably not going to get it done. So you may have to make multiple passes. But as far as, again, a way to relieve compaction in the lawn, aeration or hollow tine aeration is one of the best ways to do so. So if you can in the email, I'll look for it here, but if you can in the email, make sure you write to me like how many times, how many passes you made. And when you say that it didn't work or is not producing the results, explain exactly what you mean by that. Like it's still like hard as a rock and not like, I'm not sure exactly what that means. But again, I'll look for your email after the show here and I'll get an answer for you. All right. All right, David Williams says, Ron, how much are you watering once you top dress and work the sand in? I'm in Louisiana, zone 9A, so we're in the high 80s to 90s right now. Yeah, so the day yesterday when I finished top dressing, I ran 3 irrigation cycles. Today I have run 2. And tomorrow I'll also run 2 just in the front lawn. And then I'm pretty much going to be done. Tomorrow I could probably get away with not doing it because I believe if the weatherman's to be believed, we're supposed to have a bunch of rain starting Sunday and then every day for like 3 or 4 days. So I probably don't really even have to water tomorrow. But I am a fan of watering the first few days after you level the lawn to kind of help it settle. And then in addition to that, taking your leveling rake and just making a pass, like not necessarily like working the material around, but just using the weight of the rake just to kind of drag it along the lawn to kind of help that sand really settle and to expose the tips of the grass. That's going to help it just recover that much faster. Like I have a video that I did many moons ago. And I will, yeah, actually, yeah, it's like 2021. So it's an older video. But the advice still holds pretty well. I talk about watering, I talk about using leveling rake, and I talk about mowing afterwards. So the question is like, what comes after top dressing? And this video, again, is an older one, but I haven't really seen a need to remake it because it still largely holds true. We'll give you some good tips. It's a really short video, but pretty much just those 3 things. Water, make passes with a leveling rake or a heavy shot broom. And then depending on how heavy you went, you may have to slightly raise your height of cut the first time you put a mower back on it to prevent the mower from getting into the sand. Not strictly necessary, but if you don't do that, you may have to end up backlapping it if you if the mower starts eating some sand. All right. What to do after lawn leveling. So there you go. All right. So take a look at that and see what you think. All right. So yeah, again, I've done that multiple times on my lawn. Other folks have done similar things, and it does work really well. Like again, the goal with a leveling rake after you're done is not to like regrade the lawn. It's literally just to kind of to for lack of a better term, like you're almost like flicking the grass blades to try and get them to kind of pop through the sand, which is going to help it recover that much faster. So just something to consider doing. He says, that's an older photo. When you have more time, you'll be able to see the leveling email I sent separately. Okay, I'll take a look, James, and I'll write you back. Daniel Sandefer says, does liquid pre-emergent work well? Yes, it does. It works awesome. He says, I have a very thin strip that's hard to spread granules on. Yep, it works great, man. I mean, I'm a fan of liquid pre-emergent if you're comfortable with spraying liquids for a couple of reasons. It's easier to control the application rate. So when you look at most pre-emergents, most products in general, there's like a range, right? They'll say, like, for example, with prodiamine, there's like a range for a low end of the application rate range and a high end of the application rate range. And with granular pre-emergent, you can there's still a range as well, but it's easier to more accurately apply the product at like the particular rate you want, in my opinion, using going with liquids versus going with granular. So yes, liquid pre-emergent works really well. I'd say that the majority of pre-emergent that's applied throughout the country is more than likely liquid. Not more like it is liquid. Like you look at all the lawn services, like 90% of those guys are doing liquid. They're not doing granular, mainly because from a cost standpoint, right? They can mix up a big spray tank and go do a bunch of lawns. Whereas if you're doing granular, you gotta if you're dealing with a big property, you gotta get the bags off the truck and get the spreader out and go put it all out and everything, then blow it all off. So it's a lot more work. So all that to say, Daniel, that yes, liquid pre-emergent works incredibly well. Just make sure that you mix it properly, you apply it at the right rates, and you'll get a good result. Like most things in life, it is the Indian more so than the arrow. Does pre-emergent work well? Yes. If you apply it properly, absolutely does. And liquid, again, there's a lot of benefits, advantages, I think, to liquid versus going granular. All right. Next up is the everyday life. Is it okay to do pre-emergent a week before top dressing the lawn? You could. I guess what's your goal? Is your plan that you're putting out pre-emergent in case whatever material you happen to use, like if any weeds come in, like you're gonna try to head that off? Is that what the idea is behind doing the pre-emergent? Yeah, I heard of some people doing that. I don't particularly do that the everyday life, but as far as if you wanted to, if you had some concerns about the material you're getting, I guess you could. I would just say probably try and source better material more so than doing pre-emergent. Can you? Yes, I've heard of people doing this. I personally have not done that. I've never really seen the need to it. I need to do it. But if you want to, again, as long as whatever pre-emergent you're using, you are still within like your annual limits of how much of that product you can use on your lawn. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But again, I personally have never done that. All right. Next up is Larry Price. Did you find the kid that rode his bike in your grass? Are you going to give him the same treatment you and your neighbor did that mow? Nah, man. I mean, I didn't find the kid. I mean, I'm sure he and his mom will be walking through the lawn again at some point. Hopefully his mom will see the sign and will be like, oh man, you know what, little, lawn, tyrant, don't ride your bike through, Mr. Ron's lawn. Let's hope. But yeah, whatever, dude. It's like, it's fine. I've already fixed it. It's not that big a deal. I mean, I was really irritated at the time. But whatever. I mean, kids these days, they built different. They are built different than we were growing up. When I was a kid, I never rode my bike through anyone's lawn. You know what I mean? It just didn't occur to me to do that because like it's someone else's grass. Like why would I ride my bike through someone else's lawn? It's not nice, But like I said, these young people these days, boy, from a different cloth, they cut differently. All right. Next up is RV18. Let's see here. He says, evening all. Hey, Ron, your opinion on buying a 10-blade reel for a Revolution would make a difference. Disappointed with the 7-blade not striping. I am also lightly turf raking and verticutting and mowing consistently. As far as striping goes, the blade count is not going to make a really big difference for that. Striping is more a function of if you have a front roller and a rear drum, so the grass being consistently rolled in the same direction, which the Revolution checks that box. And then also cutting height. So if the shorter you are mowing your lawn, the worse it's going to stripe. So Bermuda grass, you can get stripes out of Bermuda at relatively low cutting heights. But that one year when I was a crazy person and decided I was going to maintain my Bermuda lawn at under half an inch, the color wasn't as good and the stripes weren't as good, and the stripes didn't stay pronounced as long as it does with it now at 3/4 of an inch. So what I always tell, I don't know how to cut you're running the mower at, but what I might tell you is to get it between 5/8 and 3/4 of an inch. That's a good height where the color looks good. Like the turf still has a nice pristine look to it as far as like just, a really manicured look. But the color's better and the stripes are better. So I would consider doing that. If you're trying to burn a pattern in, you didn't mention this, but if that's something you're trying to do, you got to be consistent with the direction or the patterns you make on the lawn. So if you decide you can do like a checkerboard, and on each time you should alter your mowing direction. But if you want, like, let's say, I don't know, we'll use the Soul Test Kit as an example. Let's say this first line here, you always want this to be a light stripe, whatever reason, right? From like whatever vantage point you're looking. You want to make sure that every time you mow, you make a pass in the same direction on that particular stripe on the lawn. And then when you're doing the mowing in this direction, same thing. You have to be consistent if your goal is to really burn those stripes in and have them, have them really pop. If you're mowing one time this way, or maybe you're overlapping a little bit, you'll get stripes, but they won't be as crispy, as pronounced as they could be is if you're more consistent about your mowing pattern. Sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. Verticutting, lightly turf raking, those are the important things that also help with it. So I just say look at your mowing pattern, making sure you're being really disciplined about that. Changing the blade count is not going to really make a big difference on how that particular mower stripes. All right, so hope that helps, sir. Congrats again on the revolution, and hopefully gave you some tips to help you with your stripe game. You know what? Actually, I've got a video here I'll send to you that's all about lawn stripes in case you have not seen it yet. So like how to mow. I mean, this video is also talking about how to mow like thick stripes in your lawn, like how to do double wides if you want to go do that. But I also talk about this also in this video. It's talking about like getting an index, like a starting point, and indexing and building out your stripes from this one point that you can definitely hit every single time when you're in the lawn. So again, it's a short video, like most of my content, other than the live streams, that you might get some value out of as far as getting your lawn stripes the way you want. Lawn striping video. All right. All right, next up is Mr. Andre Taylor. He says, happy Friday, everyone. Ron, how soon can I mow after top dressing the lawn? Once it grows through. So on the back lawn, when I've done light top dressing, I've mowed 4 days later when I've done really light top dressing. For the front lawn, it's going to be hard to say. I said in a video earlier today it's going to be several weeks. It's probably not going to take that long. I imagine that maybe not next week, but the week afterwards, I should be able to mow it. I should be able to put a cut on the front lawn if it continues growing the way it has been. So it just depends on how much it's growing through. All right, CPIM is up next. Colin's up next. It's not a lawn care question, but curious, how do you do the live streams? What capture cards do you use? And also the specific stream software, or do you just use it through YouTube? Thanks. Yeah, so my rig is the same capture cards that are used for broadcast. If you look at like the same capture cards are similar to what like Fox News uses or CNN uses or whatever, like those cards, I bought several of them, and then I built a chassis, a rig to, actually I can show you, so I've got two of them. I use one when I'm live streaming outside. Yeah, so I can show you here really quick. Yeah, so I built a rig that I use for when I'm doing live streaming outside that has these cards in it. So if you look here over Thunderbolt, this is are all my SDI inputs. You've got some HDMI because I've got a for this rig. Whenever I'm out there, I have like a gimbal, like this camera back here. If I'm out and I want to switch to that one, that one only takes HDMI, and then gigabit Ethernet. So this pretty much is my network card, and I can run 4 cameras, but more than that, 1, 2, 3, 8 cameras into this if I want to. So something like this is what I did. It's a more expensive way of doing it, but what you then find is that the video, you never have any frame rate drops. You don't have it just works. It's like when you're using more professional equipment, like when you guys watch the live stream, you don't normally see things skipping or anything like that, and it's because the rig that I built for doing, because I have another one of those that's set up a little bit slightly differently for this. It's just designed to do that. Like it's like you have discrete cards are designed for that do nothing but take SDI, and you have ones that are just do nothing but HDMI. And then there's actually a processor in there that's way overpowered for what I'm doing with it. So you put all that together, and you get being able to switch between content, between videos, and everything looks and works really nicely. As far as software I use is Ecamm. So I'm largely an Apple or Mac user, mainly because before I switched to Apple, I ran Linux as my main operating system. So because I know too much about Windows, I've done too many investigations on Windows environments that get owned. I just can't, for what I like to do, I just can't use Windows as my main operating system. So Mac OS is kind of in between. It's got Unix underneath, and then the stability of it's actually more stable than Windows is. So that's it. So Mac OS, eCam, and then a custom capture card that I built, given the cameras that I have hooked up to it. All right. Okay. Next up is C Pims. He says, I've been curious about trying live on my channel. I like the Q&A at least, always something, but I want to interact with the subs. Yeah. So eCam is really cool, man. If you've got a Mac, yeah, just there's OBS, which a lot of people use, which can work pretty well. But if you got a Mac, there's no reason to not use eCam. It's like it is phenomenal. Like it's what you want. Like you can multicast all the different platforms all at once. Just you've got like all the transitions, all that stuff's built into it. So yeah, I would just do that if it were me. All right, next up is John Williams. He says, hey, Mr. Ron, I'm currently having my irrigation system installed, going to put some Tiff Top Bermuda, okay, down, and I just ordered some carbonized PNG and hydrotane. How should I apply on new sod? Okay, so you're doing a renovation. So you're doing irrigation, and then you're going to be doing a sodding project. Okay, so if it were me, I would do the irrigation first, and then do as much as you can to get the area that was messed up by the irrigation graded as good as possible to where it's even with the rest of the lawn. Then before you put the sod in, you put down the products you just mentioned. So carbonized PNG would go down, hydrotane would go down, make sure you water it in, and then the new sod on top of that, and then obviously run an irrigation cycle once you are done with that. So you create like a product sandwich. So make sure that do as good job as you can prepping the area, then your carbonized PNG, hydrotane, sod, water, and wait. That would be my advice, John. So hope that helps, sir. And again, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Aaron S is up next. He says, I have Xeon in Texas, and I water 2 days a week for a total of 40 minutes total. You said 1 to 1.5 inches is ideal, but do you increase it if it's hotter than normal? Flowers are needing daily water to keep from wilting. Yeah. So that's a guideline, Aaron. I mean, if I told you, yeah, 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water per week is good guidance. If you're getting rain, you can run irrigation less than that or not at all. If you're not getting enough rain or you're in the hotter times of the year, June, July, early August timeframe, you may have to run your irrigation cycles longer because you're losing more water to ET, to evapotranspiration, right? So the grass is, air quotes, sweating more, and because it's just literally hotter outside, more of the water is being lost to evaporation. So depending on where you are, how hot it is, this kind of soil you have also makes a difference too. Like all of those factors go into how much water you have to put on the lawn. But you'll be able to tell. You should be able to look at it and see, right? Like, I mean, if you're pretty dialed in with your lawn, you'll be able to look at the grass and see if it's beginning to lose a little bit of color. And then, hey, maybe I need to increase the cycle for a little bit longer or add another day. But it's typically in the hotter times of the year, like what you're saying, is when you may have to up your irrigation. Xeon and Bermuda are fairly drought-resistant grasses. They still need water, but they demand less water than like what your flowers are going to demand in a lot of cases. So it's not like I would not look at what you're doing to keep your flowers happy and apply that same guidance to Bermuda and Zoysia, because they will do quite well with quite a bit less water than a lot of your ornamentals will. Okay. All right. So next up we have Lewis P86. He says, hey, Ron, can you explain the advantages of a small prill fertilizer versus a larger one? Thanks for all you do. Great question, Lewis. Just physics. So if you have, particularly on shorter cut turf, so turf where the lawn is a lot denser because you're real mowing it. If you take a look at this, right? This is your typical fertilizer prill size. This is a 210 SGN. So when you think about standard fertilizer prill size, this is what you're typically working with, right? And I don't have a pen by here, or do I? Yeah, I do. I've got a pen I can show you. And if you compare that to the tip of a pen, you can see how big that is. Now, if we compare that to Humic Max, which is the fertilizer that I primarily use on my lawn throughout the season, this is 150 SGN. So this is quite a bit smaller prill than the 210. And if you look, that's quite a bit smaller. So the advantage that this has over this, ingredients aside. I mean, if you compare ingredients, I think this is a much better product than a lot of just your standard fertilizers. But I mean, ingredients aside, especially on a real mode lawn, or even a lawn where that's just really thick because it's been well taken care of, this is going to get past the canopy and into the soil easier than this will. Because if you just think about it, it's just the physics, right? Like fertilizer sitting on top of your lawn, on top of the grass, isn't doing a whole lot for you. It needs to get into the soil to be able to work. So this, if you go and put this on your lawn, like you're going to see this all over. You're going to see like the granules of prill all over the lawn, especially if you have a lawn that's being real mowed. This, when you apply it, for the most part, you go out, it practically disappears. Like you may see a few, like maybe here and there, but you put it out and it's hard to see that you even did anything. So this is 150. If we go to the finest prill and the fertilizers that we carry, these are our greens grade prills. So this is 150 SGN. This is 80 SGN. This was considered a greens grade prill. And if you look at it compared to a pen, you can't even really see the granules. This, when you put it out, you will not see it. Like you will apply it and literally it just disappears. Like again, it's like you didn't even put fertilizer out. So given the choice between the three, if all things, everything else being equal, especially for grass that's highly maintained, so it's going to be thicker, even if it's a taller lawn, even if it's a thicker grass, a finer prill is going to get past the canopy and into the soil because that's where you need it to be for fertilizer to work. The negatives to a finer prill is that magic is not cheap. Making like fertilizer this small, a prill this small, like Lebanon uses like a homogeneous prill for a lot of their, especially for their slow release nitrogen, their methylene urea. So it's not inexpensive to do this. So what you will find is that these fertilizers will cost more per pound than this fertilizer will. But if you're using, if you're the kind of person you're out, you're real mowing your lawn, you're doing all these things, you're already used to spending a bit more on your lawn than the average bear. So this, in my opinion, is a good investment. But really the short answer to your question is physics. Like smaller prill, easier to get past the canopy and into the soil where it will work. So hopefully that helps, sir. Hopefully that is clear for you. All right. And I'll say that one, Lewis, you can actually get turned into a short, because I'm sure someone else is going to have that very same question. Like, why do I need like a finer prill fertilizer? And technically you don't have to have it, but is it better? For many lawns, certain lawn types, I think so. All right, Maestrozilla says, POA is back. What's the cheapest eliminator to use? The absolute cheapest? Time. Just wait. Given enough time, this is going to die off when it gets really hot. Like that's the absolute cheapest way to get rid of it. Outside of that, for a warm season lawn, you could use Certainty. So this paired with a surfactant at the correct rates will make quick work of getting rid of POA annua. If you have a cool season lawn, Velocity PM. This is an excellent product for controlling POA annua, POA trivialis in cool season lawns, particularly ryegrass and fescue lawns. There are some Kentucky bluegrass cultivars that will tolerate this, but because POA annua and like a lot of the KBG cultivars you guys use in your lawns, their cousins are kind of related. Not all of them tolerate velocity, but if you got ryegrass, you got fescue, you're good to go with this. So if you got a cool season lawn, this is what you want to use. Bring your wallet. It is not inexpensive, mainly because it's so much more potent. Like this one bottle, this one pint covers like 7 acres. And no, it's not available in a smaller size. This is the size that it's shipped in. They don't offer anything smaller than this, but this one bottle will last you for years and years and years, because again, that one pint covers 7.1 acres. So for cool season grass, Velocity. For warm season grass, Certainty. And if you want to know where you can find them, if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop and go to Weed Killer, you can find them both here. You can find Certainty here. And again, I would recommend using surfactant with it for best results. And then for cool season grass, Velocity PM, you can find that here, okay? Believe it or not, Velocity per application is actually less expensive than Certainty. It just comes in a quantity that just covers so much that it seems really expensive, but it's actually cheaper than Certainty is to apply. Other tips I can tell you, decide to go that route, Maestrozilla, is with Certainty, you absolutely want to use surfactant with it for best results. With Velocity, you do not. So with Velocity, water, and the herbicide and maybe a marker dye, an indicator, spray indicator, that's about it. No other herbicides in the tank, no no surfactant at all. I've heard of some people that mix a little bit of fertilizer with it. That's probably okay, but I would not use, definitely don't use surfactant with it when you're using Velocity. There's actually some guidance from the manufacturer in their little white paper says, you know, when you do this, this is how much you use in a gallon of water per 1,000 square feet. Do not use surfactant with this of any kind. So they know what they're talking about. You don't want to take a chance of injuring your lawn, and hopefully that helps. So I gave you the really cheap, and I gave you the less expensive, the way of getting rid of it on your time frame. If you want to get rid of it on Mother Nature's time frame, that is the cheapest way to do it. But if you want to get rid of it now, it's going to you have to use a product to do it. So you can take a look there. We've got them in stock and shipping at the Golf Course Lawn Store. All right, up next is Jay Rose. He says, coming in last. Sorry if it's already been asked. It's already been asked, Jay. Too late. Too late. I don't know where you're asking the same question again. He says, what's the biggest difference for you in leveling flat lawn versus sloped lawn? Just apply a thinner on a sloped lawn? Do you fight washout? Thanks. This is actually a really good question, Jay, and it has not been asked. So the difference between leveling a sloped lawn and a flat lawn, whereas I could see if you had one area that you went a little bit heavier on a flat lawn, you're more than likely going to be able to get away with it. On a sloped lawn, not as much. With a sloped lawn like what I have on my front, you really want to stick to, you know, a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of material for best results. Because I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've actually done. I've actually tested this. I've done it myself. I've made the mistake that many people have done and said, you know what? If a little bit's good, more's got to be better. And if you heavily top dress this, in other words, if you do to this, like what Mario did to his Bermuda lawn, where you can't even see any grass, it's pretty much all covered in sand. What's going to happen whenever you get not even super heavy rain, just any, I don't know, an inch of rain or so, is the bottom 2 feet of the lawn, a lot of the sand is going to migrate down there. And I will tell you, it is an absolute nightmare to move wet sand that's all like went down, move down the bottom of a slope and have to work it back up to where it's supposed to be. Like it typically doesn't work out too well, and you end up with the bottom of the slope just being heavier than you actually wanted. So for a flat lawn, you can take a bit more liberty as far as going a little bit heavier and not really be penalized for it. With a slope, you really need to stick to a 1/4 to 1/2 an inch for best results. That's what I'd say is the biggest difference. With a slope, you just can't go crazy heavy because you're gonna pay for it if you get rainfall. So hope that helps, Jay. And again, I've lived this, so I'm not telling you, this is not theory. I've actually done what I'm telling you not to do, and just trying to save you some pain. So hopefully that helps. And the biggest thing is, what you'll find is if you go light, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, is the lawn's going to recover relatively quickly. You can always go again. If you have those little areas where you need a little bit more, you still got time to be able to do it. All right. Justin's up next. I guess you like that, right, Justin? You're saying that you put him up to it. You were the instigator. You're the one that made the phone call or sent the text, whatever it is you talk to kids these days to kind of get them to go do stuff. It was you. Okay, I got you. Illuminated Revelation says, does PGR affect you if you're overseeding? No, not really. So if you are, or I should say, Primo does not really affect you if you're overseeding. If you are putting Primo out on your existing lawn to slow down how quickly it's growing, and then after you've done the plant growth regulator application, you're going to go out and then overseed the lawn, no, it's not going to negatively affect the results you get from seeding. For Primo to work, it needs to have leaf. It works by foliar uptake, and by definition, brand new grass seed doesn't have any leaf, right? So you're going to be good to go. So as long as you do your PGR app and then overseed afterwards, good to go. No problems at all. All right. Gomez is here. Says, hey friend, here in downtown area with tough Bermuda, what product can I use to get rid of broadleaf, Johnson, Dallas, or crabgrass? You have to check the label for certainty. I don't know if certainty's labeled for Johnson grass. Let me look here. Let us see. I'm thinking I can just look here and see if it's what the label tells us. Is Johnson grass on here? We got sedge control, we got bluegrass, we got, Johnson grass. Yeah, it's on here. So if you look at, this is the label for certainty, Gomez. If you see right chaw, Johnson grass is on the label. For crabgrass, what I would recommend is quinclorac. Like as far as one of the better products for crabgrass, quinclorac is what I would use. And then for the Johnson grass, Certainty. For Dallas grass, Dig It Out. There's not a good selective herbicide that you are supposed to use on residential lawns to control Dallas grass. Even if you look at Certainty, it'll say like, yeah, Dallas grass, and it'll be an asterisk suppression. So it'll help. It'll maybe irritate the Dallas grass a little bit, but it won't actually kill it. It won't get rid of it. So your best bet is just dig it out. But for Johnson grass and crabgrass, quinclorac and Certainty will do the trick. So I'll show you really quickly. Certainty you can find under shop and the weed killer section of the golf course lawn store right there. And then quinclorac should be here somewhere. Yep, there it is. So there you go. Quinclorac and Certainty will knock out 2 of the 3 that you are asking about. For the Dallas grass, a shovel. That's what I would tell you. All right. So hope that helps, sir. I'll say here, this is lawn herbicides. And if you need anything else, let me know. And for both those products, for both Certainty and quinclorac, use surfactant with it for best results. So I would tell you, okay? Surfactant isn't that expensive, and it really does make a difference in the control you get from herbicides. All right, P Global says, can you recommend the best post-emergent for the weeds growing in my yard right now? Depends on a lot of factors. What kind of grass you have and what are the weeds you're dealing with. So if you're just looking for a general broadleaf herbicide, like a 3-way, but this is assuming that you don't have centipede grass, fine fescue, St. Augustine grass, like any of the grasses that you're not supposed to use like a 3-way on, like 2,4-D on, then yeah. So I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, but as far as like the general, what can I use to control broadleaf weeds in my lawn? Any 3-way, but Triad is the one that we carry. This would be a good option, but you got to, again, make sure you read the label because there's certain grasses that do not tolerate this well at all. Like I know St. Augustine, centipede, fine fescue come to mind. There's probably a few others, but all of that is under the label right here. So just read that and it'll tell you what you can and cannot use it on. Outside of that, you have like warm season grass. Then I would not actually use Triad. What I would use is Celsius. Like given the choice, we got Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, centipede, pretty much anything other than Bahia grass, Celsius is what I would use for broadleaf control in a warm season lawn. It doesn't really have any temperature restrictions, so you can use it now. You can use it when it's hot outside. So as far as discoloring your lawn, it's far less likely to do so. Like that 3-way that I showed you before, like the Triad, once temperatures get above 85 degrees, you got to be careful with it because you will get some discoloration. Whereas with Celsius, far less likely to do that. So, but again, this is for warm season grass only, and I don't know what kind of grass you have, so I kind of gave you an option that will work on like your Bermuda, your Zoysia, your Kentucky bluegrass, your ryegrass, your turf type tall fescue. So the 3-ways will work for the most part on both cool and warm season grasses. Again, certain ones, like the most common ones. But they're not necessarily the best way, not for control if you're looking for something that's going to work over a broad range and also control a bunch of stuff. Like Celsius controls a lot of weeds. So if you got warm season grass, Celsius is what I would tell you to do. P Global. All right. If you want to go read about all these, you can go check them out right here. They're all under the weed killer section on the golf course lawn store. You can read your heart's content and get all the tips you need on herbicides. And in addition to that, you can also go to our blog, which we try to write a piece of content every week for that. You go to resources and blog, and you got different. We have topics on everything, but I mean, really, like this week's one was on recovery after disease problems in your lawn. If you want to get rid of net sedge, how to get rid of hairy bittercress. I don't know what else. I mean, you've got like mistakes people make when it comes to spraying wheat using herbicides. Read that one if you're new. So a lot of common problems that people have in their lawns, questions we get on the show. In addition to answering it this way, if it's a really good question, I'll have a piece of content. I get a piece of content done for it, so you can also have it written because not everybody likes video, likes to read stuff, right? So be sure to take advantage of that too. It's free to access the blog on the Golf Course Lawn Store. All right, next up is James Bartholomew. He says, 2 weeks into cleaning up my perennial ryegrass and my 2-month-old 419 sod, starting to see the turn and green up already. Burn some stripes in for the holiday. Love to hear that, James. Glad to hear you got rid of your the perennial ryegrass, and the Bermuda is responding nicely. All right, Granger's up next. He says, thanks again for the great products and the knowledge. Got me looking awesome. No, really, you got you looking awesome, Granger. I mean, so just a little recap. This is Granger who we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, the color looks pretty awesome, man. But that doesn't just happen. Here's the thing. I can promise you this. If you buy everything that's under the lawn fertilizer section on the golf course lawn store, and you just take it and you put it in your garage, your lawn will not look like that. You have to take the products, read the label, apply them per the guidance that we recommend consistently, keep up with your mowing, and then it's pretty difficult to not get results like that. It's pretty awesome, man. Very nice work. Thank you so much for sharing it. And of course, the obligatory showing the domination line between you and your neighbors. Nicely done. Keep going. It's only going to get better. Just keep up with it. So thank you so much for the feedback. I'm glad to hear that the products and the process are useful for you. All right, Joanne Lampron says, "What? That sucks." Yeah, it does. It does. You're talking about the little someone rolling through my new top dress lawn. Yeah, it was not nice. It was not nice. This is not how we make friends. Not how we make friends. Although, I gotta tell you, if you got someone that you don't like and you need someone to go ride through their lawn and put tracks in their lawn, I know a guy. I might be able to recommend someone who's, I mean, very good professional. I mean, he's obviously trained heavily, good with all kinds of surface. So this lawn doesn't even need to be that smooth. If he's got to get on some pavement, get on some grass, he's good to go. So I might be able to make an introduction if you guys need that. So, all right, next up is Tom Hoffenkamp. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. I was out in Georgia visiting your area this week. Took a bike ride nearby, but never saw you." It's a small world, but I guess not that small, Tom. But yeah, glad you were in Georgia, and hopefully you had fun while you were here. All right. Next again, Brian Hogg says, "Hey Ron, again, this evening I do not have the option in the live to super chat. Please advise." Yeah, so right here, Brian, if you look, that is Cash App. It's a different way of like financially or monetarily supporting the channel. It's like typically an app, I think, on your phone. There's probably a website that you can go to as well too. But if you just like Google Cash App or on your phone, go to the App Store and look up Cash App, you'll find it, because I guess it's really common. And then you can use that to plug in Golf Course Lawn, and that way you can send us a super chat or some, whatever you want to do as far as a way to support the live stream. So I appreciate it. Addie US says, "Hey Ron, are you having any sales / promotions on your products for this Memorial Day weekend?" We are not. Don't have anything, Addie. Not this weekend, unfortunately. Andrew Flores says, "The kid was coached." Here's the, I don't know about coach, but he's a trained operator. I mean, the more I first saw it, what it is, if you've ever watched, and again, I don't know, maybe not all you guys are into like firearms, but if you ever watched like a grandmaster USPA shooter, right? If you watch them ever run a stage, it almost looks slow because they're just so smooth. Like smooth is fast. You know what I'm saying? This guy, I mean, if you look at him, the way he moved from grass to pavement to dirt and just disappeared behind cover. I mean, this kid was all high speed, low drag. I mean, when he had to make his run, he knew he was under surveillance. He sped up going through the dirt. That's actually harder, So, I mean, it's not the first time. He obviously has had some training for this, and who knows, maybe he'll get promoted behind it. Because I mean, I as much as I didn't like what happened, you have to respect that it was well done. That's all I can say, right? All right, next up is Illuminated Revelation says, "Ron sounds like the old guys from back in the day." Hey man, you know what happens? If you live long enough, you begin to sound like old people. And what's funny is what's the saying go? The older I get, the smarter old people sound. They seem same kind of thing, right? And then Mr. Silla says he was trained. She sent him on a mission. Yeah, I mean, he was good, man. You gotta hand it to him. Two Trills up next says, "Hey Ron, and happy Friday. Everyone just got done mowing and ready to enjoy the show. Also, Tiny Euro reference is hilarious. I had to look it up." So if you guys are wondering what he's talking about, so as I was getting some footage of the front lawn to be able to show you guys before the live stream, I said, you know what, let's just have some fun with this. So this is the front lawn as it sits about a few hours ago before the show started. There's the vanity strip as it looks before the show started. And this morning I went to Home Depot and I said, I'm gonna get some crime scene tape to put out. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not putting crime scene tape out. I'm gonna face this head on. I hate it when people are passive aggressive. If you have a problem with someone, you need to go and talk to them directly. You need to put it out there so they can actually see that, hey, what you did was not cool. If you want to reach out to me, you can, but let them know. So I put the sign up very clearly. Here's part of what it is too, guys. Actually, I'll come back to this really quick. If I had put the crime scene tape just up there, who knows? He made it like drop down, slid under, and just kept going. So part of having the signage on, it was a piece of plywood in front of the lawn, it was like a physical barrier. Kind of, I thought to myself, you know what? There's no way he's going to cut around this, So I thought that would be a better way. Also will make, his air support have to stop and actually read it and be like, little Johnny, let's not ride over Mr. Ron's lawn. But yeah, that is the message I left. Thought you guys might get a joke out of it. Just saying, yeah, please stay off the lawn. Yes, that even means bicycles. And then a tiny URL to the video as to why. Because think about it, if you're just some random person walking by in the neighborhood and you're walking your dog or doing whatever you happen to do when you're walking through the neighborhood and you see this, you're like, man, this guy's a real jerk face. Like, why would he even say this? And then you say, there's a link. And then of course, curiosity is going to get you and you'll be like, why? What is this all about? And you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, oh, I see. I can understand why. I can understand why he's putting the signage up and why it's placed, right in front of the strip so that he can hopefully block access to it again. So far it's working, but we'll see. Who knows? He might make like a nighttime mission, middle of the night when I'm sleeping, he'll come out there and go and get it, right? All right, next up is Neil White. He says, hey Ron, your Xeon is gonna look awesome. What height do you plan on cutting it? I mow mine at 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch, 0.75 inches. So it's the Zoysia has got to earn its stripes. If it's good enough for Bermuda, it's got to be good enough for Zoysia. Mainly because I also don't want to have to go out and like either have two mowers or have to adjust the height of cut between the back lawn and the front lawn. Bermuda tolerated that the front lawn being cut at 3/4 of an inch just fine. So Zoysia should be able to do the same thing. Like what you see in this video is the Zoysia at 0.75 inches. So if you go back through and look at the content, this is Zoysia at 0.75, and it actually looks better now. Like when a week or so after it was put in, it was like at 2 inches or so whenever the sod was installed. So I thought to myself, I said, self, you could just leave this like this, but then you're really creating a headache for yourself later on as far as working the height of cut down, and top dressing through this at 2 inches is going to be more work. May as well bite the bullet now. Like once it roots in a little bit, I just started working on it like over the course of a couple of weeks, slowly stepping the height of cut down to where it is now. And then Zoysia will tolerate 3/4 of an inch just fine. I mean, there's, I want to say East Lake, where the Tour Championship is played, they have Zoysia fairways, I believe, in there. That's at like 1/2 inch. So they're cutting it even shorter than I am. And I've been on that course. It looks really nice. I mean, not to play. I've been there whenever the Tour Championship was there. And it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So 3/4 of an inch, no problem at all. And as you can see, it's greening up just fine. At first it complained a little bit. It was some brown here and there, but it's like, oh man, I guess this crazy guy is going to really try and make me just grow at 3/4 of an inch. So it is falling in line. It's got no choice. It's either that or it's going to get ripped out because it's got to be at the same height as Bermuda is. I'm not changing my height of cut every time between the front lawn and the back lawn. That's too much work. All right, Mario Hender says, the pursuit of happiness. I like it, Mario. Look at you looking all cool. And then Tom Hoffenkamp says, here we go, Devil's Happiness. So Tom says, in support of the children, my lawn looks like an abandoned lot right now. Sandy, patchy. Your darker, nutrient-rich composted top dressing is definitely giving a BMX track vibe. 5-year-olds love dirt. I get it. I was a kid at one time. I used to do a lot of stuff that adults don't let kids do anymore. Like just jump ramps and do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's amazing I made it this far. So I get it. But I just don't understand, like, why would you do that? Like I did that on like our lawn, not like the neighbor's lawn. And the thing is, like, if you look at the lawn, you look at the dirt area, it's very clear this area is not like the rest of the lawn. Like one of these things is not like the others. Like it's very clear that this was not like this. And even if it was already grown through, you just don't ride a bike on people's grass, man. You just don't do it. Like of all people too, like I obviously care a lot about my lawn. Don't ride a bike on it, please, please. And I got to fix this now because whereas Bermuda will tolerate it, like they could ride it on the other vanity strip by Alex, and for the most part, Bermuda's not going to. It'll somewhat tolerate that, I guess. Like Zoysia is more delicate. You hurt Zoysia, you can be looking at an ugly spot for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I got to kind of like nip this in the bud and be like, listen, man, this 150-foot stretch of grass, do not ride your bike on it. Please don't do it. Please. So we'll see. I'm sure this is not over. He's going to probably get a cloaking device and come back and hit me one more time as a send-off. Maybe. All right. Luke B is up next. He says, greetings, Stripe Action Gang. Been away for 2 weeks now. The lawn has green, mildew, fungus. Any advice? Snellville, Georgia, Bermuda. Fungicide. If you're sure you got a disease problem in it, but I'd tell you it's a fungicide. You got a couple of different options. What I would say is if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop and then fungicide, insecticide. If you like liquids, go with Pillar SC. If you prefer granular as far as your application type, go with Headway G. Of the two, Pillar SC is going to work a little bit faster than Headway will. But yeah, as far as effectiveness, they're both great products. This is just going to work a little bit faster than this, mainly because it's a liquid and it's going to get into the soil a bit faster than a granule, which has to break down. So one of these two is what I would recommend, Luke B. Make an application, and then 14 days later, 14 to 21 days later, apply again. And then that should be it. That should do a good job stopping or arresting the spread of whatever's damaging your lawn. And then it's just a time game at that point. Just wait, just give it time and allow the lawn to heal from whatever damage was caused by the disease. So that's going to be your thing. All right. James H says, "Are you a rifle and gear nerd, just like you are a turf care nerd with the turf care?" Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty handy with firearms. I mean, I won Georgia State USPAC championship in 2019 for my class, carry optics. So yeah, I'm respectable in the use of firearms. So yeah, I did. As far as much of a nerd, not as I don't spend as much time doing it these days as I did like during like COVID, because I had even more time then. I wasn't running the golf course lawn store then. But yeah, I mean, I used to. I mean, when I was competing, the year I stopped competing, I shot like 40,000 rounds in 9mm in a course of a season. So a lot. I was shooting a lot. So but yeah, it just takes a lot of time. Like most things in life, like if you really want to be really good at it, it just takes a lot of time. And really, for where my life is now, being busy with YouTube, the business, and martial arts. Like martial arts is not something I really want to stop. I want to stop doing. The business is something I really can't stop doing now at this point. So something's got to give. So I just go and just train with like some folks locally every now and then, just have fun with it. But I can't do it as seriously as I used to because something else would have to give. So you just kind of pick. You can only really be exceptional at a few things. So just pick a few things and just do those. You can't do a bit of everything. You tend to be bad at all of them. All right. Next up is Justin King says, "Ron, I didn't send the kid. I live on a corner lot, so I feel your pain." All right. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. And then Brian Hall says, "I still don't have the super chat option." Yeah, it's not going to be an option on YouTube. You're literally going to have to get like an app on your phone called Cash App to be able to use that to send money to the show if you want to. Okay, it's not something that's actually part of YouTube. It's going to have to be something separate. All right. Is he only answering super chat questions? No, I answer all the questions in here. I go from top to bottom. If you do give a like a contribution via Cash App and I see it, I will, like, you'll jump to the head of the line. Like, I'll answer whatever question I'm on and I'll jump to yours, but I still work through them all in the order that they come in. So it's not like you have to do that. It's more as a way of showing appreciation than anything else. Okay. Next up is Bankman 2. He says, "Hey Ron, I've got some creeping wood sorrel in my emerald zoysia, treated this week with Celsius. Is there another herbicide you'd recommend? Thanks, upstate South Carolina." Assuming that Celsius is labeled for wood sorrel, Celsius controls a lot of stuff, so I don't have the label for that really memorized. Assuming that it is, then you use the right product. I'd say Celsius along with some surfactant. If you did it this week, give it time. Like, not until you even get to, like, say at a minimum this time of year, the 2-week point is when I would even begin assessing and saying, yeah, I'm getting results or I'm not getting results. So what I tell most people is, if you're using Celsius, apply it, and then at the 2 to 3 week point, reassess whether you need to do another follow-up spray to finish the weed off. But if you're only a week in, it's not likely. It is too soon to really form an opinion as far as that goes. I would not apply anything else, especially given that you have zoysia. I mean, there's other herbicides that are a bit hotter that will produce visual results a bit faster than Celsius, but they're also going to discolor your lawn. And given that you have zoysia, you really want to avoid that. You know what I mean? So use what you got. Celsius is the correct product. Just give it time. Be a bit more patient is what I would tell you. All right. Josen Torres says, "Hey Ron, I have a Toro rotary mower and I just entered the Bermuda world this year, and it seems the lower set the lawnmower is, the less it bags the clippings." I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. So you're saying if you set the mower lower, okay. Oh, so you're saying it just kind of clumps. It's not getting in the grass catcher. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if you're trying to go from like a very high to like a taller height of cut to a low height of cut, maybe it's bogging down. Maybe it's not throwing the grass into the catcher properly. I don't even own a rotary mower, so I'm not going to be a ton of help on this one. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. I mean, Toro tends to build a pretty good lawnmower, so I'm surprised that you're having problems with it. But I cannot speak from experience because again, I don't even own a rotary mower to be able to tell you something to try. So what I'd say is this: if the lawn is taller, try maybe bumping the height of cut up a little bit and seeing if it bags then, and then maybe you just slowly step down because it sounds like maybe you're cutting so much off that it's maybe perhaps clumping. That'd be a guess, but again, without actually seeing it, it's hard to give you a better answer. So sorry, I'm not a ton of help on this one, but hopefully I gave you some things to think about and try to see if you can get things better. All right, what up, No Fam has entered the chat. He says, "What up, No Ron?" This is your hype man from Detroit. Detroit. I always say Detroit. They say, no, it's Detroit. I'm like, okay, well, whatever you say, man. You're from there. You must know. The weather is very cool here, which sucks for grass growth. This is a fact. I'm sipping on Chick-fil-A pineapple dragon fruit iced tea and half. I've not had the iced tea half and half. This is the dragon fruit and water. So I've got like this much water and like this much dragon fruit, and it's pretty awesome stuff. I've moved away from the standard lemonade to the dragon fruit because from what I'm hearing is that it's going to be like a summer thing. My sources, I mean, I don't know how much they know about what the total plans are, but they say it looks like it's going to be for the summer. So I'm going to enjoy it while I have it, right? But yeah, it's good stuff. I really enjoy it. If you guys enjoy a good lemonade, then again, I'm not endorsed by Chick-fil-A or anything like that, but if you enjoy a good lemonade, Chick-fil-A makes a really good one. And they have this pineapple dragon fruit one that is just incredible. It's something special. All right. So next up we have Aaron. We have Aaron. He says, for leveling, what's the best thing to level with? A 70-30 sand compost mix or just sand? My lawn has a lot of bare spots. Depends on what you're after. I'm a fan of using a blend. 70% sand is enough sand that it adds structure to help fill in any low uneven areas. But then while you're out there top dressing the lawn, why not put some organic material into the soil? That's the way I think about it. And, you know, Supersod happens to agree with me. Like their level mix is just that. It's 70% USGA sand and 30% their soil cubed compost, which is, it's like 3 different things. I forget exactly what all goes into it, but it's 3 different components that go into their screen compost, and it works really well. Like it's you're feeding the soil in addition to fixing uneven areas in your lawn, which is, in my opinion, is like the best of both worlds. So why not do that? And on that note, guys, I forgot to mention it. So Supersod is running a sale for Memorial Day weekend where you can save $20 off of a bag of their level mix. You have to go, according to what they're telling me, to soil3.com. You have to go to that link because there's 2 different websites. There's like Supersod website and there's Soil3. So if you do that, and actually if you use this code that they gave me, this discount code, you'll take an additional $10 off. So it'll be like $30 off of each bag of the level mix that you buy. So if you're interested in that, save $30. We'll save $30. 30 per bag on level mix. Yeah, whatever, for this Memorial Day weekend. So there you go. I'll actually pin it as a comment. So that link, if you click on that, assuming you're in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, some parts of Alabama, then you can save a bit of money and get a great top dressing material. You know what I mean? It's in my opinion the best stuff that you can use. And I've used a lot of different stuff. But if you want to use just sand, you can. But I mean, given the choice, if you have access to this, I would go with this. You're not really giving up a whole lot by using it in comparison to going straight sand. There's a lot of benefits to your soil. So that is what I would do, Aaron. Let's see here. Gomez says, can you break down the science to spoon feeding? I'm finding that in between first, my lawn looks basic. Yeah. So think about it this way. If you could eat, the way you eat yourself, right? Every day, typically most people will eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Some people skip one of those meals, but in general, you tend to feel better eating like a couple of meals per day than you do eating one really large meal just once a day. Now, like the intermittent fasting crowd, don't send me hate mail, but I mean, in general, that's for most people, that tends to hold. What you find with your grass is that if you just use a granular fert, say once per month, what you tend to find is a week or so, depending on the formulation of the fertilizer, you're going to see a nice flush of green. The color's going to be nice. The lawns will start really growing, and then it will begin to fall off. The idea behind spoon feeding is that we're going to use granular fert to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So most of the nutrient demands are going to be supplied by the granular fertilizer. And then you're going to supplement every couple of weeks with liquid fertilizer at low rates to help fill in the, I'd say like the peaks and valleys. So instead of the lawn looking like really nice and green and lush and kind of falling off, and you put fertilizer on it and it does the same thing again, instead of it doing like looking really nice, kind of falling off, looking really nice, kind of falling off, it just becomes more even. So the color stays more even, the growth stays more even. The only real negative to spoon feeding is that it just takes more time, because whereas just using just a strictly granular program, you can be out there just once per month. If you're spoon feeding, or at least the way that I like to do it, you're out there every couple of weeks. So you would do a granular fertilizer at relatively low rates. What I do is about half a pound of nitrogen from the granular, and then I spray liquids again at low rates. And each time I spray, it's about 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. So over the course of a month, the lawn sees about 7/10 of a pound of N. And it looks really good. Like my lawn looks, if you guys have seen videos of it, it does really well using, in many cases, about 20 to 30% less nitrogen than what most people will use on a Bermuda lawn throughout the season. Another benefit to spoon feeding is that if you're using plant growth regulator, which I'm a huge fan of, it gives you an opportunity to do split applications. So instead of using Primo or a new EZ once per month, which can work, but if you, instead of doing that, you can take the rate, cut the rate in half and just spray it every 2 weeks along with your liquid fertilizer. I also do biostimulants as well along with my liquid fertilizer apps, and I just do that every couple of weeks throughout the entire growing season until we get into like late September timeframe. And what you find is the lawn, like my growth regulation program works really well. The lawn doesn't really ever come out of regulation. The color stays nice and consistent. I don't get a lot of excess growth. That can happen if you start pushing a lot of like high nitrogen fertilizer at the lawn in an attempt to kind of, push the lawn and make it green up and stay green. So there's a lot of benefits to it. Again, the real negative is just that it just takes more time. So every couple of weeks, you're going to be out there spraying your lawn. So, but outside of that, if that negative doesn't really sound like a negative to you, then I highly recommend it. So hope that helps, Gomez. It's a way of, instead of giving your lawn a bunch of food all in one go and then relying on the slow release component of the granular to kind of cover you over the course of that 4 to 6 week period, you're supplementing it with lower doses of nitrogen and liquid biostimulants. And in general, the lawn just looks really good from that. I mean, if you look at what, we look at like Granger's lawn, I mean, we can show, where is he? Like exhibit Granger. That's an example of what spoon feeding can do for a lawn care program. If you look at my back lawn, I don't have any video from this week. But if I go back last week and we put Grangers down, like that is my my back lawn. And that's 7/10 of a pound of nitrogen. That's doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. So that's again about 30% less than what most people use on Bermuda turf grass. And I think that looks pretty good. I mean, some people might say it looks like garbage, but I think it looks actually pretty nice. I think it looks really nice. So if you like that and a bit of extra work doesn't put you off, and also you have the budget to do it, because like what I do on my lawn is not inexpensive. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that it's not really for everybody, but if you've got the time, if you have the time, the resources to do it, it does a really good job growing a really nice stand of turf grass. So hope that helps, sir. Hopefully it helps, or I'm not sure if you're a guy or girl, but hopefully that helps explain in a nutshell what spoon feeding is, what the benefits are, and why I am a big fan of taking that approach to feeding your lawn. All right, Hazel Apool looks like, she says, "Hey Ron, in the video where the kid is riding over your lawn, it looks like he continues to ride on the grass next door. For some reason, kids have a fascination about riding their bikes on lawns." No. Disagree with that. When I was a kid, at one point, I know it was a long time ago, I did not ride my grass on other people's lawns. I did not do that. Nope. Nope. I don't know about that. I mean, granted, he probably did not only hit my lawn, because you saw it when he came into frame, he was already on the vanity strip. So he probably did but Alex's lawn too. But you know what, Hazel? For a trained operator like this guy, it was probably done to throw you off. He wanted to say, you know what? I can't just jump off the sidewalk onto the freshly top dressed lawn. I got to make this look like an accident. So I'm going to come in on the first vanity strip, go on the concrete, get onto the actual target, which is the newly top dressed lawn, and then continue onto like some more grass. We can look like this was just an unfortunate accident. That's what really went down. That's what I think. I think it was all planned, man. I'm telling you, this the way he did this. Because there's like a tree and a signpost at the end of the vanity strip. My man did not even break stride. He didn't break. You know what? Y'all want to see it again? One more time. I'll show it one more time. Look at that. Here's the thing. Here's where you know the mark of a true professional. Look at the speed at which he enters the lawn, right? Look at the speed at which he enters the lawn. But then look also when he gets on the freshly top dress, he actually goes faster, which most people don't want to go faster on an unstable surface like dirt. And again, unless you're a pro, unless this is like old hat for you. Unless you've been doing this for a minute. Look, watch. He comes in, kind of creeping up. He's like, okay, guys, I say the target in tight. We are go, and I'm on it. No, watch. Like, look, he picks up speed. He's cooking going through there. He's going faster. Look, man, Hazel, I think to the untrained eye, you're right. It could look like my lawn was just an unfortunate collateral, but I think it was intentional. He's just trying to throw you off, all right? All right, Parallax GT's up next. He says, thank you for what happened to the super chats. I don't descriptions, I don't see the button. Yeah, so AdSense is the answer, is what happened. AdSense is the answer. So if you want to contribute to the channel, you will have to do it this way. I don't know. I've opened tickets with Google, and they're not in any rush to fix anything. So there you go. In the meantime, there you go. That's how you can contribute to the channel if you so desire. All right. Next up says Nick Wright. He says, hey, Ron, when are you going to post a video pulling a gigantic rock out from under your lawn? You got to keep up with the other YouTubers. No, I'd rather not do that. I don't have any gigantic rocks in my lawn that I know of, so probably not gonna happen. And as far as keeping up with other YouTubers, nah, man. There's a lot of people way ahead of me, and I am fine with that. I'm good. I'm good in my little cubby of the YouTube universe. I'm good with it. All right. Next up is Dice. Let me see here. Dice Dealer. He says, Ron, I don't have Xeon Zoysia. I have Xeon Zoysia. It's going into its third summer now. Don't notice Bermuda anywhere, but what are your thoughts on using Ornamec as a cheaper alternative to Fusilade and Recognition combo? I don't know. I am inclined to say probably not, because if it were very effective, for removing Bermuda grass while minimizing injury to the Zoysia, a lot of people would be doing it. And the thing you have to realize that like the Recognition is really the secret sauce in that combination, because like Fusilade 2 has been labeled to control Bermuda grass in Zoysia for forever, right? But the problem is that the rates that you have to use to get good control of Bermuda will cause some yellowing, will cause some injury to the Zoysia. So you enter Recognition, and the safe filter they put in it, Camifin, the safe filter that's in Recognition, allows you to spray Fusilade on Zoysia and St. Augustine at the rates that you need to be able to control Bermuda. So that's why that combination is really works so well, of like getting rid of Bermuda while not damaging the lawn in the process. So I don't know if Ornamec is going to be as effective. I'm inclined to say no, or everyone would be doing it. All right, David Williams up next. He says, thanks so much for the info. You're very welcome, David. He says, hey, Ron, amazing job you are doing for people. Quick question. What is the highest rate for carbonized PNG for a really compacted lawn soil? So you can put the product out at 10 pounds per thousand. If you want to go heavier, you could go 20 pounds per thousand is about as heavy as I can go. You can go heavier than that, but 20 pounds per thousand is good. If you're going to do that, Medi only, what I would say is do a good core aeration prior to putting out the carbonized PNG, because core aeration is going to do a good job of relieving a lot of the compaction, and then you can stack the carbonized PNG on top of that just to help introduce a lot of organic material, some biochar, just going to help with nutrient availability. You can get a lot of the benefits of it. So for relieving the compaction, that is really going to come from hollow tine aeration, core aeration, and then carbonized PNG afterwards is a good follow up. Let's see here. John Williams says, hey, Ron, can you explain carbon and why it's important to the lawn? Is there something on a soil test to say we need more or less? Sorry for the ignorance. I'm spending about 10K in sod from freaking out. Yeah, so the aspect of carbonized PNG that that has a lot of the benefits is the biochar. So what biochar does, if you can think of it, it's almost like in simple terms, it's like charged charcoal. So it gives you more sites, more areas to hold onto nutrients. So whenever you fertilize your lawn, particularly granular fertilizers, you are like, as far as the nutrient leaching through the soil, it's going to do so less when you have biochar in the soil profile. So the biggest benefit to it is nutrient availability. You're able to get by with putting less fertilizer out. You're going to lose less of it through leaching if you use like the compost part of it is not really the important part. It's really the biochar that's in carbonized PNG or what else is similar to that? Carbon Pro G, Humachar. They all are basically compost and biochar products. And the big benefit to them, they will, like the manufacturer will talk about like that they can help with moving pH and that type of thing. The biggest benefit, in my opinion, is just the nutrient holding that they do. They increase the nutrient holding capacity of the soil, which is allows you to get by with using less fertilizer and still having great results with your lawn. So hope that helps. Given you have 10,000 square feet, I mean, you shouldn't have to, you're spending $10,000 in sod. I'm not sure how big of an area you're doing, John, but I don't know, if I were doing 10,000 square feet, part of a sodding project, I would do 3 or 4 bags. I mean, that's heavy. But I mean, if you're doing that in between the prep surface and the sod, that would be good. 3 to 4 bags would be good over, let's say, 10,000 square foot area. All right. So hope that helps, sir. Next up is Jason Swaby. He says, were you using Ubuntu or RHEL or Red Hat distro? I've done both of them. I did towards the end, I was running Ubuntu. I was running a Debian-based distro. I started out as a RHEL guy, as a Red Hat guy. I'm actually, I mean, doesn't mean anything these days, but I'm actually an RH, or I was at one point an RHCE, Red Hat Certified Engineer, which is that test was it's a fun test to take for anyone that was like a sysadmin person. And I don't even know if Red Hat even offers that certification anymore. But yeah, started out as a Red Hat Fedora type. Actually, that's actually not true. I'd say probably the first time I installed Linux really was Debian, because the first time, I remember when Debian was small enough, when Linux was small enough that you could install it, that you do the base installer with 4 floppies. So the first Linux distribution that I actually ran was Debian, but then the one that I probably spent the most time with was the RPM based ones. So like so RHEL, Fedora, those, and then towards the end, I went to Ubuntu because like the networking support was better. The driver support was better. Like you could, every time, heaven forbid, man, every time you did an update with RHEL, I mean, again, we're talking like over 15 years ago at this point, right? And you had to reboot afterwards, man. It was a hope and a prayer if everything was going to still be working. Whereas Ubuntu seemed to have worked that out better towards the end of my using Linux as my main distribution than Red Hat did. And now probably both of them are great. I mean, I think that a lot of people use Ubuntu quite a bit, but I think that if you use either of them now, they're likely going to be just fine. But I got tired of that. But I wanted all the power of Unix, of a Linux distro, without the headaches of whenever I do an update and I have to reboot, am I going to have to go through and recompile drivers and all this kind of nonsense to get things working again? Whereas with Mac OS, that just never is a problem. It just works. So that's why I moved over like in 2005 to Mac OS and have not looked back since. So. All right, next up is Tom V. He says, hey, Ron, I've heard some people say to bag lawn clippings when you suspect a fungus issue. Does this mean you should bag clippings during prime fungus part of the season? Not necessarily. So if you have a disease problem, why you would want to bag the clippings is to prevent so if some of the clippings have the pathogen, like have spores and just on it, like by bagging the clippings, you reduce the chances of you spreading it around other parts of the lawn. But if you don't have a disease problem in your lawn, you want to mulch your clippings. It's a free way to put more nutrient back in the soil. So no, you don't necessarily have to mulch your or bag your clippings during the times of the year when disease can be more of an issue. It's more like if you have an active problem, then yeah, bagging your clippings and also mowing the area that has the problem last, so that you're not like mowing an area with a bunch of large patch in it and then mowing the rest of the lawn, so you're possibly spreading it around. Makes a lot of sense. But yeah, like me, I bag all my clippings. I don't mulch my clippings, mainly because I like the way the lawn looks more with that, by doing that than if I mulch everything back in. But if you want to save on fertilizer, then like mulching your clippings is a better way to go. Like most people will tell you, look at a lot of research that will tell you that mulching your clippings, it doesn't really contribute to thatch. It's almost like a free fertilizer app over the course of the season. But yeah, I mean, I don't do it because I just from like an appearance standpoint, and just also not tracking a bunch of grass clippings into the lawn, into the house. I just like the appearance of bagging my clippings more so. So no, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to do it all the time. It's really it's good. It is a good practice if you have an active disease problem, but outside of that, unless you really want to, no, because it is more work too. Because it's more work, and you also have to do something with them, right? You gotta have somewhere to dispose of the clippings. So there's also that. So for most people, mulching is a better way to go. All right. Next up is Colin. He says, holy marbles, that's a much crazier setup than I expected. Don't know if I would go that crazy. I appreciate the info though. Super cool. Yeah, here's the thing. You can just buy like the USB capture cards, and those will work pretty well. The challenge you're gonna find, like and I haven't looked at them in a while, but when I looked at them over, like this is probably 5-6 years ago at this point, they worked okay if you were not if you did not have like a 4K input. Like if you're streaming at like 720 or 1080, then like a lot of the USB capture cards are going to be fine. But once you start doing 4K and you have multiple feeds going into it, it will begin to struggle. Which is why like like the capture, the big car, the chassis that I built connects over Thunderbolt. So that's whatever it is. I think it's like 10 gig. So it's never slow. There's plenty of bandwidth to where there's never really a problem. So probably overkill, but I don't like having problems with my equipment. So that's why. All right, Earl, Uncle Earl Heating and Air Conditioning is up next. Says, good evening, Ron. Earl here from Minnesota. A focus of some type is taking over my lawn and my brothers. What do you suggest a solution? How to prevent it and get the lawn back? Fungicide of some sort. If you prefer granular, Headway G it's a relatively broad spectrum fungicide. Is going to knock out pretty much on any of the common lawn diseases that you're going to be facing. If you prefer liquid, Pillar SC is a great fungicide. That's also going to, again, same thing. They both have the same families, the same frac groups. So they're both 3 and 11, I think. So it's not like one is necessarily going to work better. The liquid's probably going to work a bit faster, sooner. But as far as like effectiveness, they both are going to work really well. So that's what I would do, Uncle Earl. I would put out a fungicide app, and then 14 to 21 days later, I would follow up with a second application, and then that should be enough to really get you on the mend, get the lawn to where it will start recovering. Okay, so that is what I would do if I were you. And then next year, get your fungicide out preventatively. So if you know, hey, in mid-May I've always got a problem, with this, or late May I always have disease problems in my lawn. Apply fungicide preventatively. So in other words, treat, especially if you're someone that is maintaining your lawn at a high level, so you're always mowing it, you're stressing the turf more because you're always mowing it. Like treat fungicide apps similar to how you would treat like weed control. Like it's better, like can you go out and just spray weeds after the fact? Yes, but it's better just to avoid them in the first place using pre-emergent. So especially with your lawn, hey, this time of year, for whatever reason, we tend to have we have large patch in our lawn, right? So several weeks prior to that, putting out a preventative app is going to do a lot to just make this not be a problem for you. Because by the time you see the problem, If you apply fungicide, then it's going to prevent it from getting worse, but you're still going to have to wait for the lawn to recover from it, depending on how extensive the damage is. So most people don't want to do that. So I would just, get it out preventatively. All right, Uncle Earl. So sorry you're dealing with that, man. Hopefully that helps you. And again, I sent you a link there to where you can find the fungicides that we carry on the Golf Course Lawn Store. John Williams says, will Spectacle Flow work on Tiff Tough Bermuda? It will. No problem at all. And you say you love that stuff. It's a great product. It is a great product. Not inexpensive, but it is really good for what it's designed for. And then Mario Henderson is also very difficult and messy. Yeah, as far as going very heavy, as far as the top dressing, yes, that is true. And Uncle Earl, you sent me some pictures. I will look for them and answer you after the show. So when I find it, I do see your email here, but I'll dig through it here after the show and let you know what I think. All right. Okay. Next up, we got Granger. He says, much appreciated, Ron. Your products are the bomb. Definitely spoon feeding. Love to hear that, man. They work well. I mean, it's not really my products. I partnered with some people in the industry to like the liquid fertilizers. The Andersons like creates that product. I don't have like a factory around making it myself like that. Now we went through several rounds and different testing to come up with a formulation that works well and that I liked and that met like the needs of what I like out of a liquid fertilizer. But as far as like manufacturing it, like the granulars are done by Lebanon. Like they're a giant in the industry as far as premium fertilizers go. The liquids done by the Andersons or Miramichi Green. So they're just, there's a lot of people that are really good at what they do. Are who actually make the stuff. I just partner with them on like the carbon kit and certain formulations like the 22-3 that you're talking about. All right, B Greens is up next. He says, yo, appreciate your content, Ron. Tiffway 419, Madison, Alabama, area clay soil, 3/8 height of cut, so just under ½ inch. Okay, have not used PGR yet, thinking I would have top dressed with UHA sand, but the weather hasn't cooperated. Okay. Can I go ahead and apply PGR and top dress the next few weeks? Thanks. You can. You can do whatever you want to do. If it's your first time top dressing, it is going to take it longer to grow through if the lawn is under regulation versus when it's not. So for most people, if it's the first time top dressing, I say, no, don't do that. I would not, go out and grow plant growth regulator if you're planning on putting out sand on the lawn in the next couple of weeks. I would put the sand out. And then once it grows through, you start mowing it again. If you want to introduce growth regulator at that point, sounds like a good plan to me. That is what I would do. All right. Next up is Darren Proctor. It says, hey Ron and everyone, does PGR affect zoysia or Bermuda plugs when transplanting them to a bare spot? Also, does it affect the plugs that have already been sprayed with PGR? Yes. So I guess you're asking, okay, if you're transferring a plug to a bare spot in the lawn, if that plug has been sprayed with plant growth regulator, yes, it will behave as if it's been sprayed with plant growth regulator. If your question is, I've got grass around a bare spot on my lawn and I've sprayed PGR and now I'm going to transfer plugs into that area. No. And the place you're taking the plugs from has not been subject to PGR, then no, like that plug is not going to be under regulation. I think that's what you're asking me. So just the fact that area has been sprayed, again, we're talking about like Trinexapac ethyl here. Just like it's been sprayed does not mean that if you transfer a plug in there, it's now going to have the same effects on it because when you sprayed it, there was no grass, there was no plug there. So, so hope that helps. So pretty much if where you're taking it from has already had Primos applied to it, or after you move it there, if you spray Primo on it, then yes, it's going to have an effect. Barring that, no. So if I understand your question properly, hopefully that helps clear things up. John Williams says, you got information on the site for keeping Tiff Tough thriving? Yeah, I mean, the same thing that it takes to make zoysia thrive, and most grasses thrive. Get a soil test, fertilize the lawn based on the soil test, and mow your lawn. That's the big thing. Mow it, water it, and feed it. I mean, it's really not that, like Tiff Tough, I guess, is not special in comparison to like other cultivars of Bermuda as far as how you would take care of it. You know what I mean? The same spoon feeding program would work just fine. There's a blog post on there on spoon feeding, John, in case you're interested. Yeah, the same guidance that applies to 419 or to HOMA 31 will also apply to Tiff Tough. All right. And he says, nice graphs on the videos. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And he says, what would be the best way to fix an area in your yard if gas has spilled on it? Yeah, that stinks. So if you can remove the soil that was contaminated, KM Phillips, depending on how bad it is, if you can remove and depending on how much gas you're talking about, 4 inches or so, 4 to 6 inches of material, and then backfill that with like clean soil. That would be a way to help the lawn recover, have that area recover a bit faster. It depends on how bad the spill is. If it's a small amount, it shouldn't be that big a deal. The grass will just recover. But if you're talking about like a fairly bad spill, I would actually remove the contaminated soil and then replace it with soil that has not been contaminated by the fuel spill. So it depends on how much you're talking about. John Williams says, did that bulldog pea spot go away yet? Not yet. It's getting better. It's getting better, but not gone yet. He says, in all seriousness, I too hate when people hate on us that actually care about our grass. Hate is real. So here's the thing. I mean, I say hate, but really, in many ways, it's just lack of consideration. Because some folks may not realize. I mean, I don't understand how in this day and age you would not know this, but I mean, some people just may not realize that like their dog can absolutely damage a lawn. So maybe it's how does the saying goes? Don't attribute to malice that which can be explained by ignorance. So or something like that. Like, not saying that they're trying to be mean, but it doesn't really change the fact that it damages the lawn. Like the kid that was riding his bike yesterday on the vanity strip. I mean, I make jokes about it. I mean, did he intend to go out and just do what he did? 99.9% no. I'm just having fun with it, right? Still doesn't change the fact that he did it. So the why doesn't matter. It's the results and the damage that happens that doesn't really change, right? So, Maestro Zilla says, I think contractors were drinking the morning when they formed your city walk. No, believe it or not, like the curving in it is by design. Like all the sidewalks around here that are like that. It's like a thing. It's a thing. They did it. Believe it or not, that's on purpose. It's intentional. And he says. He's punishing you for no trees on the vanity strip. Definitely a CIA operator. There's a tree. He's just good. He just dodged. He just drove around it, man. He's good. He's trained, man. Highly trained. And then RMJ says, yeah, that's so annoying. It's grass. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. And then John Selman says, these streams are awesome. Hope this is a regular thing. Yeah, every Friday. I mean, there's in a couple of weeks from now, it'll get moved to a Wednesday night, but outside of like 3, maybe 4 Fridays out of the year, they're always on Friday night at 7 p.m. So for the most part, I try to be consistent because it's better. I mean, you guys will show up, and most people don't like it when you do something one week and then you don't do it another week, and it's just bad. So at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday night is pretty much, this is where I'm going to be, outside of like 3 or 4 weekends out of the year. And again, one of them is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But then outside of that, it's just this Friday night talking about grass, right? Chantel says, I feel your pain, Ron. A lot lines. There's a lot of lines in my hood. Came home today to a portion of my lawn I care for, scalped, cut into a horseshoe. Ew. My heart sank, constantly fighting HOA company that cuts to the stop. Oh, you're talking about someone comes in there with a zero turn and like scalps your lawn, messes it up. Yeah, it happens, man. The struggle is real. Brandon Rubin says, I have a guy local to me that is selling a P20. I think it's a True Cut, right? He says he said he has used it for 1 season. It looks to be in pretty good shape. Comes with a catcher. What would be a good price for it? He's asking $13.50. Dude, I don't know what the market is for True Cuts these days. I mean, if it's in really good shape, so there's still plenty of life on the reel, bed knife, it comes with a front roller. That's not a terrible price. I mean, if you could get it for $1,000, I'd consider that to be a really good deal. Again, assuming it's in great shape, then yeah. But even $13.50 is not bad. Like the last time I priced True Cuts, I think they're over. The last time I looked at them, they're over $3,000 at this point, I believe. So $13.50 for a year-old mower that's by your own words is in good shape is really not a bad deal. But if you can get it a little bit cheaper, then that wouldn't be bad. But one thing I would tell you, Braden, consider, I just thought about this. Assuming the P20 is a True Cut, which I believe it is, make sure you can get parts, because I know last year there were a lot of challenges with supply chain for TrueCut for as far as getting parts for it. So like make sure, I mean, you might want to reach out to them and just say, hey, see if that's been resolved. I know Real Rollers carries quite a bit of TrueCut parts. So maybe check with them, make sure they're going to have like at least the consumables, like at least like a bed knife. You really shouldn't be replacing reels, hopefully not, but I would ask them to see if they also if they keep reels in stock. Because last thing you want to do is go out and get a mower that's a pretty good deal, but then something happens and you can't get parts for it. So a couple of years ago, there was a problem with TrueCut parts as far as like getting them in a timely manner. I don't know if that's been fixed yet, but I would look into that and use that as a consideration before I jumped on that mower, because regardless of how good the price is, if it goes down and you can't get parts for it, then it's like a $1,300 paperweight, right? So that's more consideration. It's a bigger consideration, more so than what you actually pay for it. It's up. Next up, he says, Colin says, Ron, I'm convinced you're almost like that character in the movie The Accountant, except for lawn care is included with the karate and firearm stuff. Awesome stuff. Oh yeah, man. I do like, is that the Ben Affleck movie? I think it is. I'm not sure. I think it's The Accountant. Next up is Vahid Navi. He says, hi, Ron and everyone. Please let me know, after rain, may I apply granule fertilizer on the lawn, or should I wait for it to dry? Yeah. So in general, you want to apply granular products to a dry lawn, Vahid, because if you don't, like on a wet lawn, the granules, the pearls can stick to the leaf, and you'll cause injury, you'll cause burning in those areas. So as a general guidance, you want to apply granular products to a dry lawn. Now, if your only time to apply it is in between a rainstorm and you're going to get rain like literally right after it goes down, it probably doesn't matter too much. But as a general rule, dry grass is what you want to apply granular products to, for the reason that I just said. Because if you apply it to a wet lawn and you don't water it in, you are going to cause, or there's a high likelihood you're going to cause some damage, some damage to the lawn, some spotting in the lawn if you do that. All right. Let's see here. Shelby says kid was coming in hot like he was in a 1080. He's in a pursuit. I hear you, Shelby. Let's see here. It says, hey Ron, do you always use sand, or is there another material we can use to just add diversity to the lawn? Sorry for the ignorance. I'm thinking that just sand sounds bad. What say you? I do a combination. So if you're watching, John, I like a combination of sand and compost. So I don't do just sand. I've done it before in the past, but in general, the last 3-4 times I've top dressed, it's been a mix. It's been a blended product. So if you can, I would do a blend, sand and some kind of a screen compost if you have access to it. All right. And you're very welcome, sir. I'm glad that you're getting some value out of it. Next up is Jay Rose. He says, when I switched to Zoysia, Thunder Turfgrass is all around. What on earth is Thunder Turfgrass? Is all around me. Best way to handle this, as new sod takes, is a mix of buffalo grass, blue grama, and curly mesquite. I don't know, J Rose. I don't know. Don't know the answer to that one. I have to look. I'll do a screenshot of that. See if I can get an answer for you next week. I do not know what to do to get rid of Thunder Turfgrass, man. Never even heard of it till now. He said, I just don't want it to infiltrate while Zoysia is not yet established. Gotcha. So what you really need then is a selective herbicide that the Zoysia will tolerate, but the weeds that you're talking about there will not. Hopefully one exists. Your thing, Jay, might just be, can you pull it? Can you pull the stuff versus like having to go use herbicides? That might be your best bet, versus relying on herbicides on an unused Zoysia lawn. Let's see here. And Gavin Moore says, hey, Ron, I would send that kid a photo ticket. I bet Mr. Wilson, he's Dennis the Menace. Nah, he's just a kid where his parents did not tell him not to ride his bike on lawns is what happened. I mean, it's not really the kid. It's more parents. I really won't put on a kid. The kid's just doing kid, right? Nick Wren says, do you have any opinion on rolling a manure lawn if you get really heavy rain as additional method of rolling on a mature lawn? I said manure. I don't know what I'm seeing here. So do you have any opinion on rolling a mature lawn if you get really heavy rain as an additional method of leveling. Seems logical, but not sure if it creates more problems than it solves. Yeah, Nick, so I'll tell you this. So whenever my sod went in, after it was, when it went in, it was rolled, they rolled it, and then before I even started mowing it, I would water it and then run my greens master on it to roll it. So yes, it's a way of helping to create good soil, good contact for the sod to the soil. Rolling it is a good thing. As far as like evening out, like mildly evening out uneven areas, rolling can also help with that. And it's as far as like creating compaction. I mean, if you're doing it for a short period of time on a new lawn, I don't see a real big issue with it. If you're doing it all the time, yeah, then you probably get some compaction, and you just have to correct it with core aeration. But if in your case it's mature lawn, dude, I would probably core aerate and top dress. If your goal is to level it, you may get some benefits out of rolling it, but not as much as just a good core aeration and then a lawn leveling project, some sand and compost. Like that's going to do a better job for you. So on a mature lawn, yeah, that is what I would do. I would not rely on rolling it on a lawn that's been established. In other words, my back lawn, I do not go out there and roll it to try and smooth out uneven areas. If I got like an area that's a little bit low, I'll just put some sand in it. I'll spot top dress. I don't go out and roll it to try and correct so slightly uneven spots on a lawn that at this point is 9-ish years old or something like that. All right. Mole Ram, he says, I have an inclined front yard. How do I stop sandy bare spots from washing down every time it rains? Grass will do that. So making sure you're growing grass on there. Grass will help hold on to a lot of the soil. Another thing you can do is to manage the drainage. So if the water that ends up on the slope that falls directly on it, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. But if you have a house, I mean, obviously, I guess you have this house is near this yard. If any of your downspouts drain into the sloped part of the lawn, like you're going to want to stop that. So you may have to get some corrugated tubing or something and redirect the drainage water from downspouts instead of having it go on this sloped part of the lawn, directing it elsewhere, like onto a sidewalk or driveway or something that's just not that sloped area. I had that same issue on my front lawn. Like there are two downspouts. There's two. There's two primary culprits that used to drain through the mulch bed right into the front lawn, and we used to create like a channel through the front lawn because there's like an area where the water would just run through there like a river, and it created a lot of wear. Something like 3 years ago, I did exactly what I'm telling you to do. I got some corrugated tubing, connected it to the downspouts, and then redirected that water to where it dumps out on the driveway, and problem solved. I didn't have any problems with washout anymore because enough water really wasn't falling on the slope itself to cause the erosion problem. It was all the water that was coming from the roof that was all ending up in this one area on the slope. So consider that, like get some tubing to redirect the flow of water, and that should help. That and just growing grass on the slope will help prevent erosion. All right. Hope that helps. And then next up, Jay Rose. He says, I have clippings I have clippings that I would like to get your take on. Clippings good for nutrients, isn't as beneficial as removing everything you can from zoysia. I mulch and bagged 4 times better for me. Yeah. So I'd say this. If you are not like zoysia will create thatch more easily than Bermuda if it is if you heavily fertilize zoysia, it is more sensitive to too much nitrogen than say Bermuda is. So it's more just prone to thatch. And if you're just trying to keep debris out of the sward, out of the canopy, then yeah, bagging your clippings is definitely a way to do that. So if you can, I'd say the best thing for zoysia is maintaining it at lower heights and then not overfeeding it. That's going to be your thing. That's going to help prevent it from getting too spongy, too thick, having it hold on to a bunch of moisture, and then ultimately potentially causing or creating conditions where disease problems can become an issue. So if you've done your testing, Jay, and you found that through bagging your clippings, your lawn does better, responds better to that, I would just keep doing it. If it's working, no reason to change it up, right? The story of New York says, in Minnesota, our backyard is back to a pond that has sandbar willows creeping into our lawn. What can we use to kill sandbar willow but not our grass, tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass? I don't know the answer to that one, Story. If it's like an aquatic weed, I know there are herbicides that are designed to be used in water, but I don't know if you can also use them on turf grass. So the short answer is I don't know the answer to that one. I'll take a screenshot. I'll do some research on it because it's interesting problem to have, but I don't know off the top of my head what will fit both. I'm sure there's a herbicide that will take care of it. I just don't know what you can use that will not cause a problem in either the water or cause a problem on your lawn. So let me do some digging and I'll see if I can get back to you. All right, JVP is up next. He says, Ron, thank you for your valuable information and knowledge. Have you considered doing a podcast? Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about taking like a lot of these. This is like year 5 of doing this. The problem is I show a lot of videos on the live stream. I guess I could do, I mean, this is kind of like a video podcast of sorts, but I guess I could start taking them and doing that. That could be an option. Yeah, I mean, I could look into it. It's just, as long as it's not too much more work than what I'm already doing. I already have quite a bit going on, so I'm not trying to really put a lot more on my plate at this point. I mean, you can already watch this on YouTube, on X, Twitter, and on Instagram, and on Facebook, on Meta. So you've got like 4 different ways to consume it. I don't know that having yet another one is really going to make that much of a difference, given that it's just more work and more stuff for me to have to manage. John Williams says, stay Friday, please. Yeah, I will stay Friday. I mean, every, like I said, 3 to 4 weekends out of the year, there are times when I have to move it. So again, not this next week, but I think the week after that, it'll have to be on a Wednesday night. So it'll probably be a slow night. So it'll be a shorter night. But outside of like those 3 or 4 weekends out of the year, it's going to be on Friday because it works better for me. It works better for most of you guys. And that's the schedule that just works best in general. So yeah, no concern about it really moving away from Friday night other than the 3 or 4 nights or 3 or 4 weekends out of the year. Let's see here. Already answered that one, JVP. He says, just don't do it Wednesday. Yeah, it's gonna be one Wednesday, man. It's not gonna be like forever. It's gonna be like one Wednesday. Let's see here. Polax in Paradise says, what carbon kit comes with a bag of Biospectrum? I'm treating 2,000 square feet and wasting 3/8 of every app using the pills. So none of them do Polax in Paradise, but there's no reason to waste the Biospectrum. So if you have 2,000 square feet, like one of those pills, the microbial food will do up to 5,000 square feet, but it's not going to hurt anything if you use it over 2,000 square feet. So if you're like throwing it out, like I would not do that. If you want Biospectrum like a la carte, you can buy it separately. If you go to shop and then Mishap Green Biostimulants, you can get it in the small bag, which I think treats 2 acres. So you get the big bag, you get the small bag. So you can get the small bag if you just want that, and that way you can just kind of use exactly what you want. That's a way of doing it separately. But there is no carbon kit that includes either one of these. If you want this, you get to get those separately. So I'll send you to where you can find that if you're interested. Polax in Paradise. Hope that helps. Let's see here. It says, how do you store and organize your products? Now that I've been following you, I'm accumulating a bunch of stuff. Was thinking about putting it all in airtight bins. You can do that. What I typically do in my garage, that I store things, and I have one side that is for fertilizers and biostimulants, and another side that is for herbicides. So I just keep them like on different sides of the garage. But I don't have any kind of elaborate storage system like what you're talking about. My garage is insulated, so they just kind of sit on the floor, like again, fertilizer, stuff that makes it grow on one side, stuff to get rid of weeds and prevent like other problems in the lawn on the other side, is pretty much how I do it. All right. And Jay says, yeah, it's like a native grass of Texas. Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. John Williams says, sorry, I missed this. Does Mishap Green Pest control grubs? Do you know offhand? I don't believe so. No, I don't believe that it has control over grubs. Johns Williams. All right. Let's see here. Hey, Ron, spots in the lawn turn orange, I believe, from an overdose of propiconazole. I was told to load it with nitrogen. I use Super Juice, which is an Anderson's Doc product mix, and spray weekly. Thanks. Not what I would do, but if it's working for you, then I guess go for it. If that's working, if you like that program. If you had a disease problem in the lawn, I would I'd reduce the amount of nitrogen that I'm feeding the lawn while it's recovering. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure who gave you that advice, but if you like it and you want to roll with it, by all means. Not necessarily something that I would go for. All right, guys, gals, that is our last comment of the evening. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was fun. Been a busy week. Really appreciate you guys taking the time on your Friday nights to come hang out with me and talk about lawn care and whatever else happens to come up. Again, next week the show will be at its normal time, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. And the following week it will get moved to Wednesday just for that week. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. For all your lawn fertilizer, biostimulants, growth regulator needs, please check out the Golf Course Lawn Store. We've got a lot of inventory in stock, ready to ship to you and help you create a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy. Again, thank you guys so much. Have a lot of fun this weekend. Get out there and do something fun in the lawn. Take care.